Is this working? Okay, alrighty. Good morning, or actually, sorry, good evening to those in Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, which includes the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and those in Jamaica, as well as those in Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and the Bahamas, and potentially even Bermuda. As today we are going to be discussing Tropical Storm Melissa, which is nearly a hurricane. So I am just going to share this stream real quickly, and then we'll get started. Now, this should be running smoothly. Alright, just making sure everything is actually running properly, sharing it on other social media platforms, and we should be started. Hello Placid, and hello Typhoon Lover, and hello Philippines Gamer. Okay, we are starting now, and I've also added a little bit of a feature on the bottom left there. As you can see, a subscriber count thing. I have no clue how that works, but we'll see if it does work throughout the stream or not. Anyways, let's get right into it now with discussing Tropical Storm Melissa and its forecast over the next 5 to 7 days, but mainly the next 5 days. So here's a look at the graphic, and here's a look at where it's expected to go track-wise and intensity-wise. Over the next 12 hours, it should intensify into a mid-range Category 1 hurricane and move to the north. After that, it's going to be making a sharp western motion there, becoming a Category 2 within the next 24 hours and a Category 4 within the next 36 hours. So right now, it is beginning to rapidly intensify, potentially even explosively intensify. It will continue intensifying before potentially reaching a Category 5 peak within the next 60 hours before it starts to make a northern turn towards Jamaica there, weakens slightly as a powerful Category 4 though, slams into Jamaica as still a powerful beast of a Category 4. By in between day 3 and day 4, it will still be a Category 4 after it slams into Jamaica and will potentially maintain that intensity as it slams into Cuba, moves out over moves into the southwestern Atlantic, slams into the Bahamas as either a Category 3 or 4th strength system. After that, it will be meandering towards the northeast, nearing Bermuda as a Category 2, and then weakening as a Category 1 by day 7. That's not included in this graphic as we're mainly focusing on these areas. So let's talk about the impacts. Okay, the subscriber count is working apparently. Just tested. Okay, I don't know, guys. Let me know if this is working or not. I'll ask later in the stream, just to know, because I'm not looking at it. I'm just focused. I'm so focused on the impacts right now and letting you all know what's going to happen. So let's talk about the impacts now. There's a broad area of marginal impacts across the Caribbean islands, which does include Puerto Rico there, the entirety of Hispaniola, as well as the entirety of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and a majority of Cuba, and parts of nearly the entirety of the Bahamas, excluding those northern islands. All could see marginal impacts over the next 5 days, and this could get upgraded higher, just depending on where the track shifts. Looking at the slight impacts, it does include less of Hispaniola now, since already so much of the rain has already fallen, but it still does include a good amount of Hispaniola, the southern portions, and now the northwestern portions are highlighted there. The Turks and Caicos Islands and a lot of the southeastern and central Bahamas, the southeastern third of Cuba, and of course the entirety of Jamaica. In terms of moderate impacts, it does include, again, southern Hispaniola, parts of the southwestern tip of Haiti. There, parts of the southern Bahamas in that category, and central Bahamas, and again, southeastern Cuba, and once again, the entirety of Jamaica. Now, going to the possibility of moderate impacts, it does include parts of the southern portions of the Dominican Republic, the southwestern peninsula of Haiti, and now parts of the central or southeastern Bahamas there could see major impacts, as well as parts of Cuba, as the storm could be rolling through as a possible major hurricane over the next 5 days. And of course, the entirety of Cuba, as well as the southwestern portions of Haiti, there are expected to see at least major impacts. Now, let's talk about the possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts. That is going to include parts of the southwestern portion of Haiti there, some of those more mountainous terrain areas. And in terms of parts of Jamaica, it does include the parishes of St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, St. Mary, St. Andrew, Kingston, Portland, and St. Thomas, all in this possibility of extreme to catastrophic impacts. And this could get even shifted more to the west, depending on where the storm goes. So again, there is the possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts, mainly for rain, but there could also be a combination of wind there as well. So let's go to the world of tropics right now, since there's less going on, thankfully. Things are calming down around the world, but unfortunately things might start picking up over the next day or two, or maybe even week. In the Atlantic, we only have Tropical Storm Melissa to worry about, and as we just discussed, this is where it's expected to head over the next 5 to 7 days. And in the Eastern Pacific, we now have Tropical Storm 18E, which is expected to meander out to sea, not really impact anyone. In the Western Pacific, there could be a little bit of a disturbance in the 7 to 10 day range, but hasn't been marked yet. And also in parts of near Myanmar and the South China Sea, could be another disturbance within the next 7 days, but hasn't been marked yet. In the Bay of Bengal here, we have Invest 94B with an 80% chance of tropical development over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance over the next 7 days. That system will be making landfall in India over the next, I believe, 4 days. And in the Arabian Sea, we have the remnants of 92A, which have a 40% chance of tropical development there. In the South Indian Ocean, we have the remnants of 95S, which are expected to dissipate over the next 2 days. And by Madagascar, we still have Tropical Storm Chengay here with winds of 45 miles an hour, expected to weaken as it approaches Tanzania. Alright, now let's discuss some more about Melissa here. Here's a look at the satellite imagery on it. As we can see, it is starting to get more vertically aligned and starting to look more like your typical tropical storm or hurricane, with nice banding there to the southern side and nice outflow starting to appear on the northern side. And as you can see on this imagery, though, some of those powerful thunderstorms are impacting parts of the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica right now not really getting hit by any of these powerful thunderstorms just yet. So let's take a look at the infrared imagery on it, and we can see a nice burst of convection that has been sustaining over at least the past 3 hours over the center, and decent banding now that's been forming on the southern side. As we can see again, parts of the Dominican Republic are getting hit with some heavy rainfall rates, some of those powerful thunderstorms, but Jamaica isn't really getting hit by anything too severe just yet. Now, why is it intensifying so much? Well, the waters are incredibly warm here. Sea surface temperatures are around 29 to 31 degrees Celsius, where it's expected to track over the next 3 days. And by the time it approaches the southwestern Atlantic, waters will be cooling, but it's going to undergo something called a jet interaction, and that's why it could try to intensify when it's over the Bahamas. I will be discussing that later, especially if there's more questions on it. And oceanic heat content or tropical cyclone heat potential, pretty much all this means is that the waters are incredibly warm with depth. So these waters all throughout here are just very warm. And so really it's just going to allow for the system to explosively intensify as it meanders to the west in stalls. Looking at the overall environment, wind shear is expected to decrease, so not really going to be a concern for this kind of system. Unfortunately, shear is going to be very low over the next few days. Doesn't really start getting higher until it's approaching Cuba. Sea surface temperatures are still going to be very warm, above 28 degrees Celsius throughout the next 3 days, and relative humidity still going to be solid over the next 5 days. Now I do want to discuss the distances from where the system is compared to where it's expected to go. Also, the 8 p.m. advisory does have it a little bit more to the west of forecasted. So this may start shifting the forecast a little bit more to the west. We will see. It is expected to be over here by around Saturday at 2 a.m. So within the next, let's see, that would be 6 hours within the next 6 hours, I believe, it is expected to be roughly in here. But as you can see, it's a little bit more to the west of where it was expected to go. So we'll see how this changes the track in the 11 o'clock update. 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, by the way. Just want to clarify that. Now let me just make sure that this subcount thingy is working. Okay, nice. All right. So distances from certain areas, and I'm going to use miles for this. Jamaica still in a hurricane watch and tropical storm warning. In terms of distances from certain areas, it is around 160 miles away from St. Thomas, roughly around 190 miles away from Kingston, around 190 away from St. Catherine as well. Portland looks to be around 180, Clarendon around 200 miles away. Manchester around 215 miles away, St. Elizabeth around 240 miles away, Westmoreland around 270 miles away, and St. James looks to be around 270 miles away. Now, discussing Puerto Rico, for example, it's around 500 miles away from there. Now, switching over to kilometers, seeing the distances from some other areas. So Jamaica is around 200 to 300 kilometers away. Parts of Cuba, they're 430 kilometers away, and parts of the southeastern Bahamas, anywhere from 500 to around 700 kilometers away. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, around 600 kilometers away. And looking at Bermuda, it's around 2,000 kilometers away. And beyond that's for parts of, I'm not going to discuss that just yet. It's too far out to really be discussing Canadian impacts. But just know that Canadian impacts will be possible with this system, okay? Alright, let's go to the models now, on what the models want this system to do. Let's see, this is the latest American run, and it does have it stalling over Jamaica. They're dumping tremendous amounts of rainfall near Kingston in the eastern portions of Jamaica before it speeds off towards the northeast, intensifies potentially to a Category 4 when it makes landfall in Cuba, slams into the Turks and Caicos Islands, and then speeds out to sea. That's just one scenario here. And let's take a look at the Canadian run now. Now remember, these models aren't initializing that well. Right now the pressure is in the 990s millibars, and this is only showing 1,000 millibars, so this is much weaker than what it is right now. It does have it becoming a major hurricane in the south or northwestern Caribbean, and then slams into Cuba there, and the Bahamas, and then off to just to the west of Bermuda there, pretty close to the United States beyond that range. Looking at the European run, I think that this is overall doing a better job. It moves a little bit to the north, then moves to the west, and then eventually gets tugged to the north, makes landfall in Jamaica as a Category 4 strength system, before it weakens slightly, but intensifies again to a Category 4 before making landfall in Cuba, slams into the southeastern Bahamas as a Category 3, then speeds off towards Bermuda as a Category 2 or 3 strength system within the next week. Looking at the German run again, this isn't not initializing that well, but the system does have it becoming a major hurricane and slamming into Jamaica and just stalling over there for multiple days as a weaker system. I would not really buy this scenario because it just has it as an overall weaker system. Discussing where the ensembles take it, it's pretty certain as to where it's going to go now. It's going to speed off towards the northeast, impact Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas. Bermuda, it's a little bit uncertain as to what impacts they could get. And we can see that on here. The probabilities, we're fairly confident as to where it's going to be going over the next at least 3 days. Or at least maybe even 5 days. We're getting a better idea as to where it's going to go. Looking at the European run, it does have that track that the National Hurricane Center has verifying, but actually it has a little bit to the west there. Slams into western Jamaica around Westmoreland, and then moves through the central Bahamas and then speeds off towards Atlantic Canada there as a powerful post-tropical cyclone. Now I do want to discuss some of the HAFS models, these higher resolution hurricane models, and what they want the system to be doing. So this model here, if we take a look at it, this would be around right now, and then going forward in time, this would be tomorrow, so this would be Saturday morning, not really impacting Jamaica too severely, but we can see some of those outer rain bands impacting it in Saturday afternoon, some thunderstorms firing up there, and again on Sunday morning, really starting to approach the island, and as well on a Sunday night into Monday, really getting bad for parts of Jamaica, with some possibly tornadic supercells there, in parts of eastern Jamaica, including Kingston, and just stalls there, becomes a Category 4 strength system looks like, and makes landfall there around Kingston. It makes a wobble after striking Clarendon, moves just offshore of St. Catherine and makes landfall in Kingston and St. Andrew, moves through the northeast, undergoes a pretty large eyewall replacement cycle there. That's pretty impressive. And that would be as a, let me just make sure, okay. Let me just paste this in here. That would be as a Category 3 or 4 strength system. It intensifies before slamming into Cuba, moves through the southeastern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands as a powerful storm, and we can discuss why. This is the half-speed run, my apologies. Looking at why this is going to intensify, this is going to be undergoing what we call a jet interaction. So right now, it's going to be under an upper-level anticyclone, which pretty much just allows it, think of it as an exhaust pipe to a vehicle, just allows all the excess heat to evacuate the storm. and it's just going to really allow an environment of not a whole lot of wind shear and just allow it to really intensify, take advantage of the environment there. And then as it speeds off towards the northeast, it's going to interact with this subtropical jet there, and it's going to allow for it to it's going to undergo what we call a jet interaction as it speeds off towards the northeast and just evacuates all that heat there. You can see how strong these winds are, which are pretty much just sucking out all the heat from the system, which continues to allow it to churn up more heat and just rapidly intensify. So over here, it could become a Category 3 or 4th strength system again. It's just uncertain as to what its structure will look like after striking Jamaica and Cuba and moving through the Bahamas. Now, discussing the latest HAFS A model run, we can see its intensity here. Overall, I think this model is doing a little bit of a better job on its intensity. It does have it approaching the island of Jamaica there on around Sunday morning. And really just getting really bad on Sunday night and Monday there as a Category 5 strength system makes landfall in, this would be around St. Elizabeth as a Category 5, and this would be on overnight Monday into Tuesday morning, goes through Trelawney and then speeds off towards Cuba there as still a Category 4 strength system, and then impacts the southeastern Bahamas as probably a Category 3 strength system, and it does intensify by the end of the 5-day range here. Okay, now this is a really big threat for Jamaica because of just how much it stalls. Tremendous amount of rainfall totals impacting Jamaica there. And now we can discuss some of the radar imagery. Now, a lot of these thunderstorms are heavily impacting the Dominican Republic right now. A lot of heavy rainfall rates and a lot of flooding concerns, as you can see on here. Looking at the past 24 hours alone, a lot of rain, and really over the past 6 hours, just gotten really bad in some of these areas. Just a lot of heavy rainfall there. We can take a look at the radar imagery on the storm here from the Jamaican radar. Let me see if I can refresh this. Yes. So we can see the storm's somewhat its core right down here on the southeastern side there. Can't really see it a whole lot well just because of how far away it is from the radar. It would be around, let's see, 400, like around 300 kilometers away or so from the radar. So it's somewhat hard to see. But we can see some of those outer rain bands already impacting parts of Jamaica there. Some rain headed towards Kingston, and a lot of rain in around St. Anne, going towards Manchester and St. Elizabeth right now. Just some of those outer rain bands, nothing too severe, just some strong thunderstorms. Now I do want to touch on the rainfall totals. What are the models saying on certain locations? Let's see here. So if we go out to the next 7 days here in terms of rainfall totals, and the majority of these rainfall totals are going to be happening within the next 5 days, but 7-day rainfall totals, let's start off with the German run here. German run wants rainfall totals of up to 50 inches or 60, even 70 inches of rain possible just south of Haiti. Some of these areas in Haiti, though, could see up to 50 inches of rain if it stalls over here. Other areas on this run, though, this is one of the low-end solutions for Jamaica. Jamaica only gets around 0 inches to 12 inches of rain there. Parts of the Dominican Republic, anywhere from 0 to up to 12 inches of rain there. In parts of the Bahamas, I'll go into millimeters now, around 100 millimeters of rain there. And Bermuda doesn't get a whole lot, only around 60 millimeters of rain on this. Now, if we take a look at the American run, with it stalling just near Jamaica there, let's first discuss the Dominican Republic. Some of these areas in the southern portions could see up to 400 millimeters. These northern portions could see up to around 50 to 100 millimeters. And central portions could see anywhere from 100 to 200 millimeters of rain. Parts of Haiti, the northeastern portions should see lower totals of around only 60 millimeters of rain, but the western portions of Haiti could see anywhere from 300 to up to 700 millimeters of rain there. Discussing parts of Cuba, the southeastern tip could see up to 300 millimeters of rain, and the Turks and Caicos Islands around 100 to 200 millimeters of rain. Bermuda doesn't really get any impacts on this run, just from another frontal system. Now let's talk Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico here could see around 2 to 4 inches of rain, and discussing Jamaica on this run, only around 0 to up to 30 inches of rain on this model run. Kingston gets around 10 inches of rain. Now this is a conservative forecast. Now let's talk about the European run, what this run wants. This is the more accurate run out of the three. Let's first start off by discussing impacts in Haiti. Here with rainfall totals anywhere from around 20 up to 600 millimeters of rain is going to be possible across the country. In parts of the Dominican Republic, anywhere from 10 to 300 millimeters will be possible there. Parts of Cuba here could see rainfall totals quite high, with some areas up to 300 to 500 millimeters of rain being possible wherever it makes landfall. In parts of the Bahamas, could see up to 200 to 300 millimeters of rain there. In parts of Bermuda, only around 70 millimeters of rain being forecasted there. In terms of inches, looking at Puerto Rico now, only up to an inch of rain expected there. Now, talking about Jamaica here, rainfall totals. Now, if we go through the different areas here, Portland gets for around, let's see, 20 to 25 inches of rain. St. Thomas looks to be as well 20 to 25 inches of rain. St. Andrews and Kingston around 20 to 25 inches. St. Catherine, I'd say 20 to 30 inches of rain possible there. Clarendon also 20 to 30 inches of rain. Looking at St. Mary, around 15 to 25 inches of rain possible. St. Anne looks to be around 10 to 20 inches of rain possible there. Looking at Manchester, anywhere from 20 to 30 inches of rain are possible there, at least on the European run. St. Elizabeth, around, 10 to 20 inches of rain, maybe even 25 inches. And at Trelawney, around 10 to 15 inches of rain. St. James looks to be around 7 to 10 inches. Hanover, around 5 to 10 inches of rain, and same for Westmoreland. Now, these rainfall totals could be conservative, and we're going to discuss the National Hurricane Center forecast in just a moment. Now, I do want to discuss the wind threat here, because the wind threat is quite high for parts of Jamaica here. Some areas could see winds as high as 160 miles an hour. This could make landfall as a Category 5 strength system. And as well as parts of Cuba here, they could get winds as high as 140 miles an hour, or looking at kilometers an hour, over 200 kilometer an hour winds. And that does also apply for parts of the southeastern Bahamas there. And looking at parts of Bermuda, Bermuda could see up to 130 kilometer an hour wind gust there. Now, let's discuss more of the National Hurricane Center forecast. What are they trying to discuss right now? I will discuss the key messages now. So, for Jamaica, everyone in Jamaica, due to Melissa's slow motion, a prolonged multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall resulting in potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides is likely to begin late Saturday or Sunday. There's an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surge when the center of Melissa nears Jamaica early next week. Preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. If you are in Jamaica, rush your preparations to completion. Finish them tomorrow if you haven't already. You're not going to have time beyond that. If you're in Haiti, heavy rainfall will result in catastrophic flooding and landslides across southwestern Haiti into early next week. This isn't a possibility. It will lead to catastrophic flash flooding. Extensive damage to roads and buildings is expected, potentially isolating communities for an extended period of time. Immediate preparations to protect life and property should be taken. Strong winds could last also for a day or more in parts of the southwestern peninsula of Haiti. If you're in the Dominican Republic, heavy rainfall could produce potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides across the southern portions of the Dominican Republic. If you're in eastern Cuba or the Bahamas, interest there should monitor the progress of the system, since there's an increasing risk that you all could experience significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of next week. The risk of life-threatening flash floods and landslides in eastern Cuba are increasing. Now let's discuss the probability of tropical storm force winds, since these are increasing. Jamaica over 90% already. Parts of the southern tip of Cuba up to around 70+%. Parts of southwestern Haiti as well in that 70% range. And looking at parts of the Bahamas now approaching the 40% range. And parts of the northern Bahamas around 5%. In the Dominican Republic around 10 to 5%. Discussing the probability of hurricane force winds. And this is increasing. See, will this work? Okay, please work. There we go. Probabilities of hurricane force winds in Jamaica looks to be over 40% now for parts of western Jamaica. So these probabilities are continuing to increase. Parts of western Haiti around 10% or higher, and parts of southwestern Cuba around 20 to 30%. For parts of the southeastern Bahamas, looks to be around a 10 to 20% chance of hurricane force winds. These probabilities are only going to be increasing over the next few days. Now let's see, is this count working? Okay, let's see here. Now let's discuss the rainfall threats again on here. This is the latest forecast from the Weather Prediction Center International Desk Storm Rainfall Forecast. This is from them. And they are forecasting for the Dominican Republic anywhere from the northern portions could see only 25 to 50 millimeters of rain. These areas highlighted in this darker green color could see over 50 to 100 millimeters of rain. These areas highlighted in yellow could see at least 100 millimeters of rain. And these areas highlighted in this more orangish color is around 150 millimeters or more. This orange area here is what I'm especially concerned about, as they could see 200 to 300 millimeters or more of rain over the next 4 days. That's why they're in that category of possibility of major impacts. Now, looking at portions of Haiti here, the northern portions could see only 25 to 50 millimeters of rain during that time period. Parts of more of Haiti here could see 50 or more millimeters of rain, and this portion of Haiti over 100 millimeters of rain in that yellow color. And this somewhat orange color, so the entire southwestern peninsula of Haiti could see over 150 millimeters of rain. And this more western portion here that could see the possibility of major impacts. Over 200 millimeters of rain are being forecasted there. And this red coloring here could see over 300 millimeters of rain. This is where you are going to be experiencing major impacts. Now, this color in this dark red shade is over 400 millimeters of rain, and this pink coloring is over 500 millimeters of rain. This is where you could see extreme or catastrophic impacts over the next 4 days. Now, going over to Cuba, over to Jamaica, the entirety of Jamaica is forecasted to get at least a foot of rain. So you in Jamaica, the entirety of Jamaica is expected to experience major impacts from this storm. This portion in this dark red coloring is 16 to 20 inches of rain over the next few days. And this pink coloring, the areas that could see potentially catastrophic impacts, over 20 to 30 inches of rain are possible there. This is a lower confidence forecast, meaning it could be even higher than that over the next 4 days. Looking at parts of Cuba, majority of Cuba there, eastern Cuba, could see over 25 millimeters of rain. This area in this darker green color, over 50 millimeters of rain. And the southern portions in 100 to 150 millimeters of rain. And this very southern coast could see over 200 to 300 millimeters of rain over the next 4 days. Parts of the Bahamas only seeing around 25 to 100 millimeters of rain. Same for the Turks and Caicos Islands. That's because this is a 4-day forecast. Beyond that, it starts creeping up. By around day 4, the system's over here, so it's starting to increase. This will all increase for you all in the Bahamas. So don't think you're just going to get away with only 25 to 50 millimeters of rain. These are going to increase. Now, talking about the super ensemble cluster, this has a good idea of the probabilities that you could be seeing impacts from this storm. So, of course, the Cayman Islands are being lowered down to around 5% or so. But parts of Jamaica, of course, just dead set on that happening. If you're in this blue coloring, there's at least a 5% chance that you're going to be seeing impacts from this storm. So parts of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, they're highlighted in that. Parts of Maine, Bermuda's highlighted in that. The Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, all these areas here, at least a 5% chance of seeing impacts. Now, this green coloring here could see at least a third chance that you're going to see impacts from this storm. So that does include Haiti, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas, Bermuda even, as well as, of course, southeastern Cuba and the entirety of Jamaica. Now, this red coloring here, over 2/3 chance that you're going to be seeing impacts. So again, the Bahamas there, Jamaica, all those areas are likely going to be seeing impacts from this system. Again, Bermuda should also start paying attention to this storm a little bit more. They could see impacts as early as the next 6 days. But really, if you're in Jamaica and Haiti and the Dominican Republic, really need to be paying attention to the system as you're running out of time to prepare. Cuba, you as well are going to be running out of time to prepare over the next few days, as well as the Bahamas. Bermuda, you still have plenty of time to watch the system. Same with if you live in Atlantic Canada. So let's talk about the ensembles here. Out of all the ensembles, since there were questions about the chances that this becomes a Category 5, for example, let me change this to light mode here so it's easier to see. Probabilities of this becoming a Category 5 on the Google AI Ensemble members here. If I fast forward some, at one point in time, out of 50 members, 24 of them have it becoming a Category 5 at one point. At this one specific point in time, this would be Sunday nights. So this is going to be, Sunday nights, 50% chance that this is going to become a Category 5 at that moment in time. Beyond that, though, there's probably at least a 70% chance that this becomes a Category 5 at any point in time. Now, what's the probability that there's a direct impact in Jamaica? let's discuss this, since there are a couple Ensemble members that do not show a direct landfall in Jamaica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 out of 50, meaning a 10% chance that this does not make landfall in Jamaica. 90% of them have it making landfall in Jamaica. So if you're in Jamaica, you are going to experience impacts from this system, okay? I cannot reiterate that enough. 90% chance that you're going to get a landfall from this system. Confidence is growing. The chances of it missing are just continuing to dwindle and dwindle. Parts of Cuba, every single Ensemble member except for these two show it making landfall there. So over 90% chance that it's going to be striking Cuba. For parts of the Bahamas, very high chance that it's going to be striking you in the Bahamas, and lower probabilities for parts of Bermuda, around 20 to 40% chance there. For parts of the Atlantic Canada, it's a little bit too far out to be discussing those impacts. Alright, now let's answer some questions. I'm going to be displaying this up here. If you have any questions about your local areas and what impacts you could see, you can leave them in the chat, and I will gladly answer. Now, I do want to ask you all a question real quick. If you're liking the stream, please be sure to subscribe, as it really helps out a lot. Is the number on the bottom left updating properly at like the subscriber count? Has any of you seen it just like briefly go up a bit? I'm just curious how that works. I'm so focused on the system that I don't know if it just like glitches out and just ups real quick, or however it works, okay? I haven't had time to really look at that, so I'm just curious if you all are seeing that go up. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, as it really helps out a lot. We're nearing, let's see here. I don't know what happened with, okay. Yeah, so if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, as it really helps out a lot. Let me just see how this works. Just going to see if it works properly. If it does, that's perfect. Yes, it works perfectly, guys. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you guys for confirming that. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Because I'm so focused on this that I haven't really been able to discuss or figure out that. All right, how's bro? Almost at 4,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support again. We might reach 4,000 subscribers by the end of this storm, which I would think. Thank you guys so much. Just on how much growth I've already gotten. Thank you guys so much, okay? I'm so lucky to be able to give this information to you all, and I just really appreciate it. Once the mid-level center and low-level center align, which is supposed to be, which I suppose is what it's trying to do, it's go time. Remember, this thing can rapidly intensify at any moment now. Rapid intensification is now going to be happening earlier than forecasted, which could drastically forecast the path of where it's going to go. It's really uncertain to be talking about that at this point, because it hasn't even rapidly intensified just yet. But again, the forecast still can shift drastically over the next 24 hours or so. So it may strike western Jamaica, may strike central Jamaica, may strike eastern Jamaica. We are not certain as to where it's going to be striking directly. All of Jamaica, though, should be preparing for major impacts, and the eastern portion should be preparing for the possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts. Let's see here. Melissa could become a Category 5 tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I really don't think it's going to be one by tomorrow. It could become a Category 2 or 3 strength system by tomorrow night. This would be around 24 hours from now, becoming a Category 2 strength system. Category 5, or at least Category 4, is expected by... let's see, tomorrow is Saturday, so by Sunday morning, looks to be a Category 4 strength system by then. And Category 5 by Sunday morning. Or sorry, by Monday morning. Yes, okay, because that would be Tuesday night then. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out more. Let's see, today's, okay, so Saturday. Then this would be Sunday. Monday morning, yeah, okay. So not Category 5 by tomorrow. Let's see, how many models are showing Category 5? Majority of them, over 50% are. I'm worried about Santiago de Cuba. Yes, I've seen that there. Let's see, get hit hard down the road. Yes, those areas right over here could experience major impacts. They do have the possibility of seeing major impacts over the next 5 days. They are going to be right in the center of the National Hurricane Center forecast, and if this verifies, they could be seeing catastrophic storm surge in the Bay Area. So really, be taking this seriously, okay, because these impacts could be major or catastrophic. For parts of Cuba, I'll mention the storm surge threat a little bit later there. Um, yes, Zenith numbers. Nice Melissa getting nuts, unfortunately. Uh, but we are now also watching the Western Pacific for a possible Category 4 string system next week. Yeah, there could be a system threatening the Philippines in around a week or so, but really focusing on this system. Oh, well, thank you guys so much for 3.8 thousand subscribers. I didn't see that. Thank you guys so much. Let's see if we can hit 3.89 thousand subscribers, I guess is the goal. That would mean a lot to me. If you're liking this kind of these kind of update videos and you want to stay up to date as to what the system's doing and you have any questions, you can always ask them in the chat. But just consider subscribing if you haven't already, and be sure to like the stream, guys, as that really helps out a lot. I know that some of you liked the stream last time. If you like it this time, be sure to like it. Thank you so much for 100 people watching. Did you say Landfall in St. Elizabeth? Landfall in St. Elizabeth is possible there. If we take a look at the Google AI Ensemble members here, and we zoom in more on St. Elizabeth's right here. So the probabilities of a direct strike, I will cover this for you all now, depending on where you are in Jamaica. Let's discuss this. So there is, just let's start off by discussing St. Thomas here, okay? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eight ensemble members there showing a landfall there. So a landfall there, around a 16% chance that it will be making landfall there. Looking for parts of Kingston and St. Andrew, I'm going to combine these two. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four of those ensemble members making landfall there. That's around an 8% chance of a direct strike there. Looking at parts of St. Catherine, that would be, let me just make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them make landfall there. That's around a 12% chance of it making landfall there. Some of these ensemble members make 2 landfalls, though. I do want to reiterate that. So the probability that it makes landfall in Clarendon, these are not going to add up to 100%. Just want to point that out. Clarendon landfall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them, so that's 14% chance that it makes landfall there in Clarendon. Looking west now towards Manchester, I believe that's Manchester right there. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those ensemble members, around an 8% chance of it making landfall there. St. Elizabeth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Yep, 11, 12. Yep. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 of those ensemble members have it there. So 34% chance that St. Elizabeth gets a direct strike from the system. Looking at Westmoreland, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8% chance that it makes landfall there. So these are the probabilities of of where it's expected to make landfall there. If it's going to be making landfall in your province. What are the probabilities? Now remember, these probabilities are likely going to fluctuate a lot over the next 24 hours, but this is looking at the current Google AI Ensemble members. So again, looks like St. Elizabeth is the target between most of them there. The consensus has it making landfall somewhere between Manchester and Clarendon. But in terms of probabilities, remember, the larger the coastline, the more the probabilities are, go up. And because St. Elizabeth has such a large coastline there, that's why so many of those ensemble members have it making landfall there. Now remember, it doesn't require a direct impact for you to make, or direct landfall for you to get impacts from the system. Beyond that, it's a little bit uncertain there for Bermuda. There's around a 4% chance it makes landfall in Bermuda. Looking at Cuba, looks to be around a 96% chance that it will make landfall in Cuba, at least from the Google AI Ensemble members. But I'm mainly focusing on Jamaica in this update. Let's see, other questions. Watching from Montego Bay. Hello, how are you doing? Believe it will make landfall in Alligator Pond in Jamaica. Let me see where that is. Alligator Pond, yeah, they could see a landfall from the system. Really, anywhere in Jamaica could see a landfall. It has not made landfall in Clarendon yet. It has not made a landfall just yet. It's going to be a little bit, a couple days away. It's so much rain. Yeah, 20 to 30 inches of rain is going to be possible across Jamaica. Sorry, guys, I am catching up to your questions. Let's see. Torrential rains. I hope some of the viewers who lived in Jamaica should be prepared now immediately and evacuate if needed. If you're in a low-lying area, you need to be evacuating from there, okay? If you know someone else who lives in a better structure, go there. From what I see from satellite, yeah, rapid intensification could be starting soon. Let's see. Like, what is the peak of it? I'm currently forecasting 160 mile an hour peak, but even stronger than that's possible. 175 knots. That is going to be like the upper limits right now from the. Let me see. That would be 200 mile an hour winds are going to be possible with this system. I do want to reiterate that 200 is a possible peak with this system. Just depends on where it goes. The members that want that, let me see where they want it to happen. That's south of Jamaica, and then this one is right over there, right around the consensus. So really could become quite a powerful system, but it is expected to weaken by the time it nears Jamaica. Potentially. I'm not going to set that in stone. Pressure below 900 millibars is possible with this system. Yeah, so a question about could it not hit Jamaica? A direct landfall there, the probabilities of that happening are over 90% at this point in time. So do not be betting against that, okay? Do not be going for the 10%. Don't take that gamble. Even if it does that, you still are going to be seeing at least major impacts. See, I've seen some people saying a 190 mile an hour landfall. Is that possible? 190 mile an hour landfall. Let me check. If I go in time to a landfall there, in terms of what's the peak there, let me see if any of them show it even coming close to that kind of landfall intensity. That's 160 knots. No, I don't think 190 mile an hour landfall is going to be happening there. The consensus, I'm not so sure about a Category 5 landfall with the system. Or, sorry, a 190 mile an hour landfall. I don't see that happening. I see it weakening before making landfall in Jamaica, but it's still Category 4 or 5 landfall is likely going to be happening in Jamaica. Yes, this could be worse. This will be worse than Gilbert in 1988 if this track verifies. If it slams into Jamaica as a Category 4 or 5 strength system, this will be worse than Gilbert. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I'm catching up to your questions. Let's see. Sorry. Yeah, a Category 5 landfall is possible for Jamaica. I do want to say that. It's Telespiked. Thank you so much for watching my stream. Yeah, I do a lot of animations. Guys, if you're watching this and you are interested in hurricane animations, you're curious about what storms in the past done, I've done an animation on Hurricane Gilbert if you want to search that up. I don't just do live streams. I also do animation, so if you'd like to check that out as well, I'd appreciate that a lot. Of course, after the storm's done. No need in wasting time right now, okay? Let's see. What other questions? Bro, you're officially a Jamaican now. Yeah, the amount of geography I know in Jamaica over the past 2 days or so, I can see why you think that. All right. Okay, kind of like Barrel here. Can you do Alan? I could do an animation on Alan soon. All right, guys, I am now reached the live part of the chat. Let me see if there's any questions on Twitter. Freelix had a siren emoji there. Yes, very bad there. Now, again, guys, if you have any questions about certain areas, you can always ask in the chat, and I will gladly answer. About certain provinces, like where are you all located from? If you want to ask, like, what parts of Jamaica? Here, I'm going to ask a question about where you guys are located from in terms of province or parish. What parish in Jamaica are you from? This can produce tornadoes. Yes, tornadoes are going to be a possibility. Let me just count the provinces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 along the coast. So I'll do 2 at once. So I'll do Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. Or here, actually, hold on, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 of them. Let's see here. I'll do Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. James. I'll do, let's see here, St. Elizabeth. Trelawney, and Manchester. And I'll do portions of St. Anne, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. And I'll do St. Mary as well. I'm sorry. And then I'll do over here for, let's see, Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, and St. Thomas. All right, there's a poll for you all if you're in Jamaica. All right, let's see here. Looks like Franklin of 2023 kind of does. Recon is passing through the center in the next 10, or next, let's see, did they say 5 minutes? Okay, let's take a look at Recon. Yep, so they are about to pass through the center again. They got a pressure of 995 millibars as of the latest pass, and they are about to go through the center again. So there they are. Gonna sample it some more. We'll see what pressure they get. Let's see. Do you think the track is going to shift a little more west or keep it how it is? Well, based on the current trajectory as to like what it's been doing right now, it's been moving a little bit more west than forecasted. So I'd probably assume it gets pushed a little bit more to the west, I think. A little bit more to the west the forecast could go. It's already speeding more to the west. Maybe it stays on the current trajectory. I'm not sure. I think maybe a little bit more to the west would make the most sense. It's ahead of schedule as to where it's moving. It's moving a little bit faster. So is there a chance that there would be another storm after Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica? Doesn't seem like there's going to be another one after this storm. Nothing in the next week, nothing in the next 10 days. Just, guys, mainly be focusing on this storm, okay? Let's see here. Honestly, if Melissa became a Category 5 in October, I'd say Milton on... I don't know what you're saying with that. Let's see. It's just because, might be worse than Gilbert. Let's see. So it seems like you guys are majority are from St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, or St. Mary, and Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, and St. Thomas parishes. Those parishes. See, Melissa's going to be a Category 5. What are the most and worst impacts in Jamaica? Well, if it does make a Category 5 landfall in Jamaica, winds are going to be catastrophic. Rainfall totals are going to be catastrophic regardless, really, if it becomes a Category 4 or 5 at landfall in Jamaica. Storm surge will be catastrophic, especially to the east. Okay, I'm gonna try and explain this a little bit more. Storm surge, of course, is when the water gets pushed onshore. So remember, storms in the Atlantic here rotates counterclockwise. So they move like this. So depending on where exactly that center is located at, to the east of it on the southern side. So for example, if it makes landfall, according to the National Hurricane Center track, anywhere to the south or like to the east of this area is going to be experiencing that onshore flow here. And that will be delivering catastrophic storm surge to parts of Kingston, Morant Bay, parts of St. Catherine and Clarendon, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, all these areas experiencing catastrophic storm surge from the system, especially to the closer side of where it makes landfall. The closer it is to the center, the more catastrophic it will be. These western portions don't experience as much storm surge because the winds are blowing out to sea. And this is all dependent on where it makes landfall. So I'm going to show this to you all again here. Okay, please let me select it. No, actually, this works out perfectly. If it makes landfall over here, those damaging storm surges now more to the Alligator Pond area, so around Manchester, St. Elizabeth, all those areas. The more west it goes, the more areas that are going to be getting hit with worse storm surge. Now, if it goes more to the east here, as you can see, some of these areas get spared. If it goes to the east of the forecast cone, then those areas don't get as much storm surge, at least on the southern portions. Now, that gets flipped as we go onto the northern side. Then those eastern portions don't get as much. The northeastern portions would not get as much storm surge, but the northwestern portions of the island would get worse. So if it goes more in the east of the forecast, those devastating storm surge would be happening in areas like Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney. But if it's more to the center of the cone, not as much storm surge happens there, but the worst storm surge happens in St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover. Now, if it goes all the way to the west of the forecast, then northwest, the northern portions of Jamaica then are spared. Again, I could probably do a much better drawing of this. I'll kind of denote it for you all there. Doing something like, you know what, let me do as a smaller thing. Like this, and then let me do something like that, as well as, let me do a little bit of an orange color here, just trying to show it to you all kind of what I mean. Something like this, and then going now to a yellowish color, just trying to show you all what I mean by this. All right, something like that, and that. There we go, kind of a rough idea of the storm surge threats on it here. Depending on where it makes landfall, the storm surge threat is going to be highest when the arrows are pointing on land, okay? And the color denotes how bad it would be then. So looking at parts of southern Jamaica here, again, the landfall, if it makes landfall, for example, let's go out to sea. It doesn't even make landfall. Still, storm surge will be happening on portions of the southwestern portions of Jamaica, even if it doesn't make a direct landfall. Now, if it makes landfall in Westmoreland, those impacts are going to be really bad to the east. Now, if it makes landfall in St. Elizabeth, those storm surge impacts aren't as bad for Westmoreland, but really bad for St. Elizabeth into the east. The entirety of the Jamaican coastline there getting really bad storm surge. I can zoom out even more, kind of like this. This is probably a better depiction of it. Depending on where it makes landfall, anywhere to the east gets the devastating storm surge. Anywhere to the west gets most likely spared. If it makes landfall in just to the west of Kingston, anywhere here, those devastating storm surges will be funneling directly towards Kingston. And now talking about the northern portions of Jamaica, once it leaves the island, anywhere to the west of where it's leaving the island is going to be experiencing the worst storm surge. Anywhere to the east, not as much. Cuba, same kind of scenario will be happening there for the southern portions. Where does it make that landfall is going to be really important for how bad the storm surge gets. Right, hopefully that kind of explains that there, the storm surge threat of the system. Let's see here. Do you think it will go more west or trend more to the east? I think it might start trending a little bit more to the west because of what it's been doing right now. I'm a new meteorologist. I'm getting used to learning myself how to do meteorology, and I don't know what to focus on. I don't know if I need to focus on Melissa or the storms in America. Yeah, I know that there's like a decent. Let me check tornado threats there in the United States. Nothing. Okay, I don't even know. I haven't had time to look at that. I'm really just focused on trying to prepare everyone in Jamaica in these areas. And guys, if you're liking these kind of updates, be sure to like the stream as it really helps out a lot. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as I will be continuing to do more updates over the coming days on the system. I will be doing a landfall live coverage live stream as it's making landfall. So be prepared for that, okay? I will be doing a live stream as it makes a potentially catastrophic landfall. Morant Bay, St. Thomas Beach storm surge, please. Looking there in parts of Morant Bay. Morant Bay is going to be, let's see where. Morant Bay is where? I know it's somewhere here. Morant Bay, where did that go? Okay, I'll pull it up on here. Storm surge is hard to be forecasting this far out. I can't really say for sure how bad the storm surge is going to be. Okay, there's Morant Bay. The storm surge will be the worst if the storm makes landfall. Okay, Morant Bay is down there. All right, there we go. The storm surge will be worst if it makes landfall in western St. Thomas Parish. The storm surge will be the least if it makes landfall to the east of there. That's pretty much the consensus there. The closer it makes landfall to western St. Thomas, the worse the storm surge is going to be. But if it makes landfall over you or to the east of you and misses you, then the storm surge will be less. Currently, the forecast is at making landfall just in the border of Manchester and around Clarendon, those areas. So storm surge is expected to be a little bit bad for you still, but not as bad as if you were just to the east. Now, if this starts getting shifting to the east, you're going to get worse and worse storm surge. See, is 2025 a dull year? Not for you all in Jamaica. When is Melissa expected to hit Jamaica? Let's see here. Jamaica could get a landfall. It's forecasted to be around Tuesday. Tuesday is forecast to be the landfall. What are the chances that it will have an eyewall replacement cycle before landfall? I'd say over 50% chance that it undergoes an eyewall replacement cycle. Yes, the fact that it's taking so long is mentally draining. Yes, this is such a slow-moving storm, and the impacts are not going to be just all of a sudden, really. It's going to be very gradual increase in those impacts. So have you seen the Canadian model? I agree with it most because the GFS fails. The Canadian takes over better in forecasting. I'm not sure. Euro does a good job, I think. Let's see here. Depends where Melissa goes. The more west it goes, the higher it poses the threat to southeastern Florida potentially. I don't think southeastern Florida has a threat potential anymore. The prediction is still changing because they don't know fully yet where it's going to go because it's moving so slowly. That's a great point. Let's see here. There we go. Trelawney. Let's discuss Trelawney's impacts. Remember, if you have any questions about your local impacts, you can always ask, or you can always ask them in the chat, and we'll gladly answer. I'm curious where most of you all are from. It looks to be the eastern portions of Jamaica. That's unfortunate. Because you all are in the area of possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts. So for Trelawney, currently forecasted to get major impacts over the next few days. And in terms of rainfall, the rain threats for parts of Trelawney, here we are getting a better idea as to what's going to happen for you all. Rainfall over the next 7 days looks to be around, okay, I'm not really going to use this. This isn't as good as my opinion because it's not showing the higher end case scenario for Trelawney. But Trelawney could see up to around, let me pull up the Hurricane Center thing. Looks to be around 12 to 16 inches of rain are being forecasted for you in Trelawney. But mainly on this run, around 5 to 10 inches of rain are being forecasted by the European run. In terms of winds, Trelawney, let me look at the wind threats. Wind threat looks to be around, if I can get this working, around 80 to 100 mile an hour winds are being forecasted as a peak from the European run. Now this could get significantly higher. It all depends on where the system goes. Have you seen, yes, Zenith says, HEC, I always love your streams. I hope one we can collab someday. That'd be great. If you have Discord, do you have Discord, Zenith? I'll answer, I'll respond to that once I get down to your response. New Reconnaissance update. Thank you for reminding me, Elizabeth. I will pull that up. So let's see, they have passed through the center of the storm. What's the extrapolated pressure? Let's take a look. Did that data come out? Yes, in the 990s there, 998 millibars extrapolated pressure, 997 looks like. And they'll send a dropson into it and we'll get more information as to what the central pressure is. But it really hasn't moved much at all. Curious what the extrapolated pressure was last time they entered this storm. So nope, that's not it. Let me zoom out even more. Okay, that's like when they were going into it. Man, okay, why does it cut out when it goes... Okay, it was a little bit lower when they went into it the first time. That's quite suspicious. Let's see what else. So Melissa's Harvey, but in the ocean. Melissa's similar to Harvey. It's rapidly intensifying. It's going to be a major rain threat across Jamaica. So I can see those comparisons, but it's not going to stall over Jamaica. It's going to stall to the south of Jamaica. When is the next National Hurricane Center update? Updates for its wind speed, and when does the 11 p.m. advisory come out? Do you think it's going to be a hurricane? I don't think they're going to upgrade it to a hurricane then. Next update comes out at around, let's see, that would be around 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So the time in Eastern Daylight Time right now is 9:14 p.m. Just want to say that. Let's see. Look at Canadian on tropical tidbits. Is that showing something um, crazy? I will pull that up. Canadian run. Here's the latest Canadian run on where the system's going. Let me pull up the north areas there. Impacts parts of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland there as a post-tropical. Is that a hurricane strength system? Yes, as a hurricane force, non-tropical area of low pressure slamming as an extratropical cyclone into Nova Scotia there and then Newfoundland. So that is going to be a possibility, and we will be talking about the possibility of Bermuda impacts over the next few days. But right now we're mainly focused on Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba, and even the Bahamas. So that is going to be a possibility there. So let's go through more of these questions. Will any of the winds or storm remnants from Melissa go into America? Now, the probabilities that the United States sees impacts from this system are around 5%, I'd say. A little bit over 5% that they get any impacts from the system. And the main spot is going to be the eastern, the border from Canada and Maine, around a 5% chance. Areas of New England could still see impacts from the system, but it's quite unlikely at this point in time. One of them has it going towards the Carolinas, a couple have them going towards New England, and a lot more go towards Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, but generally the consensus has it moving away. We'll see, though. Confidence will increase over the coming days as to what are the chances. Yeah, flood risk is the highest since the storm is very slow moving. If it goes further west than what hurricane models are predicting right now, will it still have a chance to rival Wilma? In terms of its pressure, yes, it could. The pressure could go down even further. It really all depends on if it tries to form a pinhole core or not, I'd say. Um, let's see here. Hi, I just joined. What is it forecasted for Melissa? Yes, let's go over some more of the forecasted here. So here's a look at the latest, my latest forecast from the system as of around an hour ago. It is a tropical storm. It is expected to become a Category 1 hurricane by tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow night, it's going to be a Category 2 strength system. Sorry about that. And then by, this would be on, let's see, tomorrow's Saturday, so by Sunday morning, a Category 4 strength system, rapidly intensifying over the next 60 hours into a Category 5 by hour 60. And then by hour 72, this would be 3 days from now. So let's see, today is going to be, today's Friday night, then Saturday nights, Sunday nights, Monday nights, becoming a Category 4. By Tuesday night, it's already passing Jamaica as a Category 4 strength system. And by Wednesday night, it's blowing through the, by Wednesday night, it's already passed through the Bahamas. Then it will be a Category 2 by Bermuda and Category 1 approaching Nova Scotia, or approaching Canada. The cone does not include Canada just yet, just want to say that. In terms of impacts, there's a lot of areas that could see at least marginal impacts from the system over the next 5 days. That does include Puerto Rico, parts of the majority of the Bahamas, parts of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, the entirety of Jamaica, and Hispaniola, all seeing at least marginal impacts. Now, discussing the possibility of or slight impacts being forecasted does include the southern portions of Hispaniola in northwestern Haiti, the Turks and Caicos Islands in southeastern and central Bahamas, southeastern Cuba, and the entirety of Jamaica. All at least slight impacts. Now, for modern impacts, that does include southern Dominican Republic, the southern portions of Haiti, southern Bahamas there, and as well as southeastern Cuba and the entirety of Jamaica. In terms of major impacts, let's discuss the possibility of major impacts. There could be some in parts of southern Dominican Republic, southwestern Haiti, and parts of the Bahamas there, wherever it makes that landfall potentially as a major hurricane, as well as parts of southern Cuba, the southern portions of Cuba. Now, where are we forecasting at least major impacts? That is going to be including southwestern Haiti, and the entirety of Jamaica is expected to get at least major impacts from this storm. Now, what about the possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts? Well, that does include a portion of Haiti there. Let me figure out what portion of Haiti that actually is. Looks to be around Margon, that area of Haiti. Could see potentially extreme to catastrophic impacts there, and as well as the eastern portions of Jamaica could see extreme or catastrophic impacts. They do have the possibility of that. So that does include St. Anne, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, St. Mary, St. Andrew, Kingston, Portland, and St. Thomas. All could see extreme or catastrophic impacts. And in terms of forecasted from the National Hurricane Center, they are forecasting for parts of Haiti they're at least getting a foot of rain, at least getting 12 inches of rain. Anywhere in that red, that light red coloring is 12 to 16 inches of rain being forecasted there. That does include parts of Westmoreland, as well as parts of Hanover and St. James, as well as parts of Trelawney as well. That area in darker red is at least 16 inches of rain, forecasting 16 to 20 inches of rain. And that does include parts of Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and parts of Clarendon. Now, this area in this pink coloring is at least 20 inches of rain. You could see 20 to 30 inches of rain if you live in that pink colored area, seeing the possibility of extreme or catastrophic rainfall totals. That does include St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, St. Andrew, Kingston, as well as Clarendon and Manchester. Parts of those areas all could see the possibility of 20 to 30 inches of rain falling over there. Let's see what else here. St. Catherine, what are the impacts in St. Catherine? We can discuss that. St. Catherine, that would be up over there. Around wind gusts of up to 160, so around 130 to 160 mile an hour winds are possible there. So Category 5 winds are being potentially forecasted for you by the European run. In terms of rainfall totals, St. Catherine could see anywhere from 20 to 30 inches of rain. See, tornado warning near Dallas. Oh, dang. Okay. That's in Texas, by the way. I don't see it anymore. Probably expired since then. Is forecasted to be Category 5 or near Category 5, and it will make landfall in Jamaica and cause severe damage and storm surge. That's right. Most people are estimating a Category 5 landfall. I'm not so sure about a Category 5 landfall, but that is possible. Let's see, Mark, you're from the Philippines. There could be a system coming your way in the next 10 days. Just going to let you know about that. I will do more updates on the coming days about that. Hello, we have a cruise in Puerto Rico to Barbados and back on the 2nd for 1 week and then headed to, I don't know where that is. Do we cancel at all? Or let's see, you're going to Barbados and Puerto Rico. Those areas you're fine. If you're over there, marginal impacts at most. You are fine in Barbados in those areas. Cayo Levante, I don't know where that is. Let me search up that. Sorry about that. Just gonna answer that question. Dominican Republic there, and I'm just looking at on Google Maps real quick. You should be fine. You should be fine. By that point, it's going to be gone, okay? Category 5 is definitely possible. For those asking, is Category 5 possible? It is, and I am forecasting a Category 5 by Monday. Is this Monday morning, I believe? Let me just double check. Yeah, by Monday morning, I am forecasting this to be a Category 5. Do you think it will make landfall at Santiago de Cuba after Jamaica? Yes, there is a possibility it makes landfall there. Looking at the Google AI Ensemble members, that's generally the consensus is there or just to the west. So there is a possibility there that it could make landfall directly on there. Currently, it looks to be around a, let's see, a 6% chance of it making landfall directly over there. But of course, those probabilities are going to be shifting over the coming days. What about North Indian Ocean or, let's see, North Indian Ocean or South Indian Ocean? There's going to be 94B. May get a brief discussion on that, but really we're mainly focusing on Melissa. 94B could be a decent flood threat for parts of southeastern India. 92A meandering out to sea, Chang'e going towards Tanzania, and 95S just meandering out to sea and dissipating. Yes, that rainfall is crazy. 20 to 30 inches of rain. Now let's see. We have a question about a Black River. Ooh, thank you guys so much for the subscribers. Again, if you're liking these kind of updates and you want to stay up to date and be able to ask more questions throughout the next few days, be sure to subscribe as it really helps out a lot. And you can stay up to date on these storms. Let's see here. Let me just pull up. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to pull up the Black River. I have a question about Black River and the impacts that they could get. Remember, if you have questions about your parish or your, preferably if you mention your city in parish, I will answer them and kind of give you a timing forecast. So for Black River here, I believe this is Black River. Yes, around Black River there. Don't know where in Black River you're asking for, but Black River here. Looks to be getting impacts as early as tomorrow, but mainly starting to increase overnight Sunday into Monday morning. So get your preparations completed by tomorrow or by Sunday night at the latest. Okay, the earlier you get it done, the better. Impacts seem to really pick up on Monday, and Tuesday seems to be the peak. Tuesday, overnight Monday into Tuesday morning, really the worst. And then it seems to calm down afterwards at around Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's when it seems to calm down a little bit more. In terms of the total impacts you can get around Black River, over here, around 10 to 20, or I'm going to pull up something else real quick, okay? I'm going to pull up something from the Hurricane Center on my laptop. You all can't really see it, but it's just so that way I can answer your questions more easily. Pull this up. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I'm doing this so it's easier to answer your questions. Okay, come on. Zoom out a little bit more, please. Okay, there we go. All right. So there in Black River, you could see rainfall totals. Oh, geez, this doesn't work out well. Hold on. Let me. Sorry about that. I'm trying to adjust something on my laptop, and then I'll discuss that more. Oh, but okay, jeez. All right. Man, come on, please work. Okay. Nope. Man, okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to set something up just so I can make it more efficient in answering your guys' questions. Okay. Almost got it there. There we go. So, for parts of Black River, you could see rainfall totals of 16 to 20 inches in Black River, and winds are being forecasted by the European run for around 90 to 100 mile an hour winds for Black River. Let's see, off Samana, or Samana. I'll search that area up. Don't see it there. Of course, you guys are welcome. Let's see, Portmore, St. Catherine. Oh, wait, hold on. What is your forecasted peak based on your personal analysis? I am forecasting a 140 knot peak, so 160 mile an hour minimal Cat 5. That's nothing minimal about that, though. See, Portmore, St. Catherine, we can discuss that. Portmore in St. Catherine there, winds of around, by the European run, up to 160 mile an hour winds are being forecasted there, so you could see a landfall from a Category 5 strength system. Now, in terms of impacts, what about the timing of impacts for Portmore? Could begin as early as tomorrow, so please finish your preparations by tomorrow. If you haven't already, you're running out of time. By the time you wake up on Sunday morning, conditions are going to be deteriorating. So get your preparations completed by tomorrow, okay? By tomorrow night, before you go to sleep tomorrow night. And it's going to be getting worse and worse, really bad on Monday and Tuesday, but starts to calm down by Wednesday, is what the forecast shows from the European run. In terms of rainfall, you're expected to get 20 to 30 inches of rain, and you could see potentially extreme or catastrophic impacts there. So what about Spanish Town and St. Catherine? See here, Spanish Town right over there. St. Catherine again, you could see 20 to 30 inches of rain and winds of up to, from the European run, looks to be up to 150 mile an hour winds are possible there in Spanish Town. In terms of the timing, you could see impacts as early as tomorrow, but really picks up on Sunday. So again, get your preparations completed by tomorrow night. If you haven't already, please get them done. And looks like some areas here in terms of wind gust for Spanish Town, up to 150 mile an hour winds. Again, rainfall accumulations of 20 to 30 inches of rain. And again, the conditions are calming by Wednesday. Let's see. Update on Portmore, St. Catherine. Again, Portmore, St. Catherine, winds of up to 160-mile-an-hour winds are possible there for Portmore. Rain totals of 20 to 30 inches of rain are going to be possible there. Just really bad there. But extreme or catastrophic impacts are possible. Don't see any rotation on weatherwise, and it doesn't even look like a normal Cat 1 hurricane. I don't think it's a hurricane just yet. Manchester. Manchester Province, if we look at that area. Let's see, Manchester here. And remember, guys, if you have any questions about your local areas and you want to get an update on the impacts that you could see, be sure to leave them in the chat, and I will gladly answer. So Manchester here looks to get around, at least on the European run in terms of wind gusts, could be as high as 170-mile-an-hour winds. So Category 5 conditions are being forecasted by the European run. In terms of rainfall totals, Manchester could see around 20 inches of rain are being forecasted by the Weather Prediction Center. And you can see the European run forecasting as high as 30 inches of rain over there for Manchester. Now, I do want to talk about the preparations. On what I mean by preparations, have an evacuation plan. If you're told to evacuate, do it. Medications, have medical supplies ready for about 2 weeks. Make sure you have cash on hand. Make sure you have a flashlight and batteries. That's really important, especially in the night. And phone and portable chargers, get everything charged if you haven't already, because power is going to go out across Jamaica. Be prepared for that. And do not delay on that. Get everything charged. Have all your important documents together in case you need to leave. A battery-powered weather radio, phone list, have all phone numbers together. Your phone numbers of your family, doctors, insurance, everything like that. And keep your vehicle filled with gas, okay? And also have an emergency kit. Have a non-perishable food and water, 1 gallon per person per day for 7 days. So 7 gallons of water per person, okay? In your household or wherever you're at. Make sure you have a cooler. Cooler can be useful. A first aid kit is definitely very helpful. And as well as pet supplies, if you have pets, so pet food, water, leash, collar, bowls, medications, carrier and cage, that kind of stuff. Sleeping bags and pillows can be very helpful. Toolbox and rope can also be helpful. Same with plastic sheeting and duct tape. Work gloves are very helpful. Fire extinguisher could come in handy. Cleaning supplies, clothing especially, and whistle as well in case you get stranded. That's mainly those kind of things that you should be bringing with you. See, can you zoom into the Kingston Harbor? Which communities in Kingston should be on alert for storm surge? We can discuss that. So, Kingston Harbor. I don't know where you mean by Kingston Harbor, but looking at Portmore and Kingston, the main areas are going to be along the coast of Kingston, especially over here. These areas could experience devastating storm surge with the water blowing onshore into those areas. In Hunts Bay as well. I see some bridges. Maybe Portmore gets a little bit more spared because there's a little bit of a road there blocking it. Port Royal could get devastated as well as some of these international airports. Hellshire could get devastated. A lot of these areas, it all depends on where the center goes. Harbor View, Shooter's Hill, those areas could get really hit hard. Especially areas near South Haven, these communities. So it really all depends on where the center goes. Will Melissa make a direct landfall? Now, in terms of probability of it making landfall, here's a look at 50 Google AI Ensemble members. Okay, 50 members here, showing all different kinds of case scenarios. Now, I want you to look at these tracks, okay? Each of these are a different scenario, okay? And counting them. 1, 2, 3. Let me see, is that a landfall? Nope. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 12% chance that it doesn't make a landfall. So around a 90% chance that it does make a landfall in Jamaica. So 90% chance that there's a direct hit. Even if it doesn't make a direct hit, there will still be major impacts in the form of flooding. So be prepared for that. Update on Rockford, Kingston. Pull that area up. Now remember, guys, if you're liking this kind of content, be sure to subscribe as it really helps out a lot. Whoops, Rockford, and where is that? Kingston. Okay, Rockford, Kingston. Not really able to find it. Rockford. Yeah, I can't really find Rockford, I'm sorry. But Kingston's impacts could be up to 20 to 30 inches of rain, and winds could be as high as Category 5 strength. So these winds could be 160-mile-an-hour winds at their peak. So really prepare for the possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts. See, St. Anne, Ocho Rios. See, that area could see impacts beginning as early as tomorrow. So really get your preparations done as soon as you can if you haven't already. Conditions are going to be deteriorating tomorrow, so rush them to completion. Sunday as well, deteriorating. Monday gets worse, and then peaks out on Tuesday around noonish, and then calms down by the time on Wednesday. By the time you all wake up on Wednesday, it should begin to calm down there. In that area, in terms of the rainfall forecast, looks to be 20 to 30 inches of rain, around the 20-inch mark. And in terms of winds being forecasted for you, winds of up to 130 mile an hour are being forecasted by the European run. So get your preparations completed as early as you can. You could be experiencing catastrophic or extreme impacts from this system, but at least major impacts. Yes, prepare an evacuation kit. If you're in a low-lying area, definitely prepare an evacuation kit. Let's see, Belfield, Manchester. Is that Belfield in Manchester? I believe so. Impacts could begin as early as tomorrow with some of those outer rain bands and thunderstorms, but really picks up overnight on Sunday. So get your preparations completed tomorrow or Sunday, but the earlier the better. If you can get it done tomorrow, do it. Get your preparations completed. Conditions are going to be very bad on Monday and really peaking out on Tuesday, and then calms down overnight on Tuesday into Wednesday morning. All right. In terms of wind accumulations, you could get winds as high as 140 mile an hour from the European run, what it's forecasting, and rainfall totals of around 20 inches are forecasted, so you are expected to get at least major impacts from the system. Rockford, I do not know where Rockford is. I tried searching it up and it just won't show there. Great job. Thank you guys. Again, if you're liking this kind of a content, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 3/8 is the goal by the end of this live stream. So please, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Help me reach that goal. And you'll stay up to date over the next few days. I will continue to cover this system, and you will be able to see the updates. Just please consider subscribing and like the stream if you haven't already. See, what will the winds and rainfall be in Munro and Malvern areas in St. Elizabeth? Ooh, okay. St. Elizabeth. Munro, I believe you're talking about these areas? Yes, around these areas, you could see impacts as early as tomorrow with some of those outer rain bands and thunderstorms, as well as Sunday. Really gets bad, though, on Monday. Overnight Sunday into Monday morning, so get your preparations completed either Saturday or Sunday, and the conditions really get bad on Monday night into Tuesday morning. Starts calming down by Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning, looks like. In terms of the rain or the winds, you could get winds as high as 150 mile an hour, at least from the European run. And rainfall totals looks to be around 16 to 20 inches for you there, at least from the Weather Prediction Center. But the national or the European run shows as well 15 to 20 inches of rain for you there. Let's see, Banana Ground, Manchester. I'll search that up. Banana Ground in Manchester here. Let's see, so impacts could begin as early as tomorrow with some of those outer rain bands and thunderstorms. You could get some isolated or scattered thunderstorms, as well as Sunday. Really picks up on Sunday night and gets the worst on Tuesday, overnight Monday into Tuesday. So get your preparations completed either tomorrow or Sunday nights at the latest. Get them completed by then. Conditions seem to start improving on Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening and gets much calmer on Wednesday, at least from the European run. Again, these conditions may change, so keep checking back for updates. In terms of rainfall totals, you're expected to get, looks like around the 20-inch mark. The European run showing up to 30 inches of rain for you there. And wind accumulations of up to around 140 miles an hour are expected for you there. It's Rockfort. Okay, not Rockford. See, what were they saying? Um, Hold on. Okay, Rockfort. Thank you so much, M2 Engraver. Thank you so much. Okay, that helps out a lot. Rockfort. Okay, found it. Near Kingston. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. So Rockford, those areas could experience those outer rain bands as early as tomorrow, and then it really gets bad on Sunday. So get your preparations completed by tomorrow. If you're in and around Kingston, those areas, get them completed by then. Conditions peak out for Rockford on Tuesday, and then it looks to calm down by Wednesday. In terms of rainfall, you all are expected to get around 20 to 30 inches of rain there, so you could be experiencing catastrophic impacts in terms of flooding. And in terms of winds, you all could see rain or winds of up to 160 mile an hour, so Category 5 is going to be possible for you there. I should be traveling to Jamaica tomorrow. Do you know if it will be safe to do so? I prefer you don't go to Jamaica because this is going to be delivering major impacts throughout the entire island, okay? So if you are not doing this for a chase or whatever, I'd recommend not going yet, okay? This is going to be really bad across Jamaica, so really traveling there, not ideal. I would not recommend going to Jamaica at all. Not yet, okay? Wait until the storm passes and wait until the area at least gets their power back on because power is going to be knocked out likely throughout the entire island. Yes, Atlantic, a brutal Category 5 like this. This system trying to become a Category 5. This is not unlikely because of those very warm sea surface temperatures and how warm they are with depth. The Kingston Harbor is the water body between the downtown and the airport. Rockford is on the... Yes, thank you. Let's see. St. Anne Runaway Bay. Search that area up, see some of those impacts. Impacts will likely begin tomorrow with some scattered thunderstorms possible, and again on Sunday, but the real storms impacts really begin on Monday. So get your preparations done as early as you can. I'd completed either Saturday and Sunday at the latest. It does look like flooding will be kind of concern for both of those days, so be very cautious as you're completing your preparations. Conditions seem to peak out around Tuesday, and rainfall totals for you there seem to be around 20 inches or so. And a wind gust could be as high as 110 miles an hour there in St. Anne Runaway Bay. Zoom Earth radar is back. Yes, I see. Do they have Jamaica's radar, though? I don't think so. Oh, they do. That's great. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, so we can see it on here. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Yeah, so we can see some of these outer rain bands there impacting parts of Jamaica. See, is this current? Wait, where's current? Okay. Oh, and then this is the forecast. Okay, interesting. So you can see some of these rain showers going across Jamaica right now, some of them in around central Jamaica, parts of St. Anne, Clarendon, those areas. That's going to be continuing moving to the west. Another rain shower is going to be approaching St. Mary and St. Anne. That's going to go through the island. Currently, though, the brunt of the impacts aren't really over there just yet. Man, look at that, impacting parts of the Dominican Republic. They're really bad. Alright, now let's answer some more questions here. Albert Town Trelawney, please. Sure. I remember you from this, from before. Let's see, Albert Town in Trelawney. This should be Trelawney. Yes, okay. Albert Town could see impacts as early as tomorrow with some isolated thunderstorms, as well as on Sunday. But it really deteriorates overnight Sunday into Monday morning. So get your preparations completed either Saturday or either tomorrow or on Sunday. Really peaks out on Tuesday, and it gets calmer on Wednesday. Still some isolated showers and thunderstorms expected then. Let's see. NOAA 2 mission number 9 is finished. Okay, but oh yeah, in terms of rainfall totals, wind accumulations, you could get winds as high as 100 miles an hour. And in terms of rain accumulations, of up to, let's see, up to a foot of rain being forecasted here. But from the National Hurricane Center, they're expecting up to 16 to 20 inches of rain for you there. So you are almost in that area of catastrophic impacts being possible. But for right now, major impacts are expected for you there. Let's see. Yeah, I did St. Anne Bay. Santo Domingo. Ooh, okay, let me look at Santo Domingo. Oh, yeah, Santo Domingo is going to be over here. I know where it is. I'm sorry about that. So additional impacts there. In terms of rainfall, you could see around, let's see, that's going to be 6 to 8 inches of rain, additional rain amounts there. Wind accumulations, nothing too bad in terms of wind, but you could see a decent amount of rain. And there, you're expected to get at least moderate impacts from this system over the next 5 days. So you're still going to get more impacts. It's not over for you yet. Let's see, what other questions? Tail spike, 8,300 or 3,820. Is that 6 subs? Thank you guys so much. Please, let's see if we can hit 3,850. Please, okay, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Really helps out a lot. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe. You'll stay up to date, especially on any other storms throughout the years that will be threatening you in Jamaica or Cuba or any of these areas around you. Yes, thank you guys for over 150 people watching live. What about Ewarton and Saint Catherine? We could pull that up. Oops, sorry about that. Trying to get this going. Ewarton, that's the airstrip there. In terms of impacts that you could get there, sorry about that, let me pull it up like this. Okay. Impacts could begin as early as tomorrow with some isolated or scattered thunderstorms. Same on Sunday. Picks up on Sunday night though. So get your preparations completed by either Saturday or Sunday at the latest. Get them completed before Sunday night. And it peaks out at around Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon, and it seems to calm down by around Wednesday. May still get some isolated thunderstorms then. In terms of rainfall accumulations, you could see around 20 to 30 inches of rain over there. And that's why you could be seeing extreme or catastrophic impacts from this system if this does verify. In terms of winds, you could see winds of as high as 150 mile an hour, at least from the European run. Let's see, based on the strength of the system and slow movement speed, its impacts are likely to be worse than Gilbert in 1988. Yes, this system is forecast to be worse than Hurricane Gilbert. Let's hope that doesn't verify. Gyro Weather says, as a new weather forecaster channel, how long should a video take and how long should and how should I send? I don't really know advice on that. I'd say start small first. Start small, see how that works. You don't need to go full overblown yet. Maybe do a YouTube short, maybe do something like that. Maybe just test the waters, do a quick live stream, test out that kind of stuff. And then over time, build on that. Find out where it works. Experiment. Do multiple experiments. Do one that's like a minute. Do one that's 5 minutes. Do one that's 10 minutes. Maybe one that's 30 minutes. Experiment and see what does best. All right. C. Fisher asks, Mandeville, Manchester. I know someone named with C. Fisher. That's interesting. Mandeville. Let's see here. Mandeville could see rain on Saturday and Sunday with some of those isolated outer bands. Gets worse on Sunday night, though. So get your preparations completed by Saturday or Sunday. The earlier the better. If you get them completed by tomorrow, that would be much better than waiting until Sunday. Wind gusts of up to 140 miles an hour are expected, and rainfall of 16 to 20 inches are expected from the Hurricane Center for you. But in terms of the European run, up to around 25 inches of rain are being shown there. So you could experience some extreme or catastrophic impacts, at least by the European run, but at least major impacts. How much rainfall in Cuba? Hi, Richie. In terms of Cuba, Cuba could see rainfall totals of around, this is over the next 7 days. Looks to be around anywhere from an inch to up to 20 inches of rain are being forecasted by the European run from this system. Let's see, Melissa could have winds of up to 180 miles an hour at a pressure near that of Wilma, since it may be shifting more west than initially anticipated, yes. I believe this will. I don't think that it's only going to be a Cat 2 when it strikes Jamaica. I think this will be either a Category 4 or 5 strength system at landfall. And it could still be one as a Category 4 as it leaves the islands. Sorry guys, I am catching up to your questions. Yes, this will be similar to Maria when it hit Puerto Rico. If you remember what happened there, this could be a very similar scenario. Okay, if you know the devastation that happened in Puerto Rico after Maria, this could be very similar. Okay, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're now 20 away from 850. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Really helps out a lot. I spend a lot of time doing these streams, and you guys will stay up to date throughout these next few days. I am going to be continuing to commit to doing multiple live streams. Yeah, hopefully it won't be as deadly as Maria. You guys who are watching this stream, you're already ahead of everyone else, in terms of, like, in safety. You guys are aware of this system. You are hopefully taking precautions. I'm trying to reiterate, guys, take precautions for this system. This will be life-threatening. Alright, so, just please stay up to date. Share this with people who are in Jamaica or in the forecasted path, so that they can ask their own questions. You can share this in group chats, things like that. If you are in group chats with family or friends, you can let them know about this stream, and so that they can ask their own questions. Or if you have any, if you want to know about friends in certain areas, you can ask questions in the chat for them here. But just staying aware of the system, you guys are doing a great job so far, okay? Just being aware of it is the first step, and taking preparations is the second. What do you think it will peak at? I think it will peak at as a Category 5 strength system of at least 140 knots, so at least 160 mile an hour, Category 5 south of Jamaica there. So I do think that that's going to be the forecasted peak. It's around a 50-50 shot if it does become a Category 5, in my opinion. I'm worried about Seaview Gardens in South St. Andrews. Let me search that area up. And why are you worried? Because of the storm and surge in the drain besides it. Okay, let's search up this area. Seaview Gardens. That's in southern St. Andrew, you said? Let's see. I don't know where that is exactly. Sorry, I don't know where exactly that is. It's not showing up. Atlantic says they're predicting it as a low end, or as a minimal Category 5 at landfall. A Category 5 landfall cannot be ruled out. Okay, so I see what you're going with there. That could very well happen. We will see. I'm not going to go that aggressive just yet, okay? I try not to hype things up too much, so I try to stay a little bit more conservative in my forecast. Let's see. You guys are welcome. If you have any questions, you can always ask in the chat, and I will gladly answer. Yes, Seaview. Okay, I'm going to search up just Seaview. See if that works. There we go. Seaview Park. Probably this area. That's Seaview Park. Seaview, if this is generally the area. Rain or impacts could begin in Seaview Park as early as tomorrow, with some isolated or scattered thunderstorms in those outer rain bands. On Sunday, though, it starts to deteriorate. So get your preparations completed by tomorrow. Okay, and conditions just keep getting worse up until Tuesday when it peaks out. By Wednesday, things look to get better. Rainfall totals of 20 to 30 inches are being forecasted for you there. From the European run, I could see what it wants. It wants rainfall totals of up to 25 inches being forecasted for you, and wind gusts as high as, let's check here. Wind gusts as high as up to 160 mile an hour winds are possible there, so Category 5 impacts are possible for you in Seaview. How much rainfall in the Bahamas? We can look at that. Rainfall accumulations in the Bahamas, wherever the center goes, wherever the core goes, they could see up to 8 inches or more. So maybe up to a foot of rain could fall wherever the center actually goes. This is just one variation on where it's going. This is just one case scenario, having it going this way. If it shifts any to the east or any to the west, that will drastically impact the rainfall totals islands in the Bahamas get. Where will it land in Jamaica? Alligator Pond, and is that on Tuesday? Now, where it makes landfall is going to be very, it's very complicated to say. So I'm going to show you all the Google AI Ensemble members, okay? This shows around 50 Ensemble members, and it gives us a better idea as to the probabilities of where it will make landfall. I'm going to do this in parishes, and I will show you all the the probabilities of it directly moving over this certain parish. Now these probabilities are low, but they're going to be adjusting over the next day or so. So this may seem low, but these will increase in certain areas. Okay, the fact that it's low just shows uncertainty. So looking at parts of this would be, whoops, let me get this going. Hold on, sorry about that. Looking in St. Thomas, there, the probabilities, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them have it making landfall there. That's around a 16% chance of it making landfall in St. Thomas. And around Kingston and St. Andrew, that's around, let's see, 1, 2, 3, around 3, so around a 6% chance that it makes a direct landfall there. For parts of St. Catherine, looks to be around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members, so that's around a 14% chance there. Whoops, let me actually fix that. I don't like that. Okay, that looks like a 7. There we go. 14% chance that it makes landfall there. And remember, there could be 2 landfalls, so that's why these numbers may not add up to 100. For Clarendon, it looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ensemble members. That's again a 14% chance that it makes landfall there. In terms of, let's see, that's Clarendon. Now looking at Mandeville, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those make landfall there. That's around an 8% chance it makes landfall there. Now, St. Elizabeth, this is the one that most of the Ensemble members want it to make landfall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 members have it making landfall there. That's around a 36% chance that it makes landfall in St. Elizabeth. And looking lastly at Westmoreland, around a 1, 2, 3, 4, around an 8% chance it makes landfall there. There's around a 10% chance it doesn't make landfall anywhere, but that's 90% chance it makes landfall somewhere in Jamaica. So again, this kind of shows the probabilities of where it's going to hit, but the current consensus has it making landfall in central Jamaica. All right, let's look at some more of these questions. And timing of landfall looks to be as early as, let's take a look. So impacts, the landfall could happen as early as, this would be Monday night. Monday night is the earliest it could be making landfall. The consensus has it making landfall sometime on Tuesday morning, and the latest has it making landfall sometime on Tuesday night. So anywhere from Monday night to Tuesday night is the landfall timing, with Tuesday morning being the most likely landfall timing. Landfall timing does not mean the worst impacts, though. Um, 3.83k subs, thank you guys so much. Let's see here. How will it impact Spanish Town? We can discuss Spanish Town's impacts. So if you're in Spanish Town, impacts could begin as early as tomorrow with some outer rain bands and isolated to scattered thunderstorms will be possible tomorrow, but it really picks up on Sunday. So get your preparations completed by tomorrow if you haven't already. And throughout Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday is the worst day of impacts, looks like. On Wednesday, by then, it calms down. In terms of, let's see, is this rain? Rainfall, you could get anywhere from 20 to 30 inches of rain, with the European Run forecasting those totals as well. In terms of wind gusts, up to 150 mile an hour winds are being forecasted for you from the European Run. That's just below Category 5 intensity. Will Melissa affect the upper Atlantic Ocean as a post-tropical cyclone? Yes, that is going to be beyond the. That's going to be beyond the. This is going to be beyond the 5-day forecast. Excuse me, and it could by around day. This is where it's expected to be by around day 7. This is where I'd say it's going to be as a Category 1 strength system, somewhere in around here. The cone is just so large, though, at this point in time, that it's very uncertain as to where it's going. It could affect some of the upper Atlantic areas like Atlantic Canada, Maine, those areas. I'll have more updates over the coming days. We have to get through Jamaica and Hispaniola first, then second going through Cuba, then third going through the Bahamas, then fourth Bermuda, then fifth potentially Atlantic Canada. So we have 5 areas to really be looking out for. 5 phases, really. Melissa still could be a major hurricane by the time it exits the Caribbean. I want to say that again. Could become a Category 3 as it exits the Caribbean. Could even strengthen back to a Category 4 briefly due to a jet interaction. How will it impact Maypen and Clarendon? We can look at that. Maypen, I know where that is. There, yeah, okay, I see it right over here. Maypen could see impacts as early as tomorrow, maybe some isolated or scattered thunderstorms. That will be due to the outer rain bands of the system. It does deteriorate on Sunday nights, so I'd say get your preparations completed by tomorrow or Sunday. Get them completed before Sunday night at the latest. Tuesday really is the worst day of impacts, and by Wednesday it seems to calm down. In terms of wind gust, you could see winds as high as 140-mile-an-hour winds, and rain accumulations are being forecasted by the Hurricane Center 20 to 30 inches, and the European run here showing up to 25 inches of rain. So you could see extreme or catastrophic impacts from the system. Let's see. Oh, refresh the Google AI model. Is a new one out? Oh, dang, another one's out. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Man, I did not expect that. Okay, let's see. What is it forecasting now? Not forecasting Category 5 yet. Thank you so much for pointing that out, though. I did not realize that a new one came out. Let's see. What is it forecasting here? It is forecasting a wobble to the west. So it is initializing it a little bit more to the west, and that this is actually doing a great job. It's doing better than the hurricanes that are here. It has wobbled to the northwest there, so it's actually doing a pretty decent job of forecasting it there. Nearly a hurricane by now, may already be a hurricane very soon. Meanders to the north there, then moves to the west, becomes a Category 4 there. Earliest landfall timing seems to be Monday nights, as I was mentioning earlier. Latest landfall timing seems to be around, this would be Wednesday morning. Consensus has it making landfall sometime Tuesday morning. Now let's discuss the updated probabilities of it making landfall. Where do the models have it showing it making landfall? Again, over half of the members have it becoming a Category 5. So for parts of Jamaica now, let's look at these Ensemble members and the probabilities of it making landfall. Right, I'll discuss that a little bit later. I just want to answer some more questions, things like that, because we just discussed this already. Landfall in Cuba seems to be around Category 3 or 4 strength there. By the time it plows through the Bahamas, still a major hurricane. Let's see, how close does it get to Bermuda on this model run? Just to the west, still as a Category 2 or Category 1 strength system, and then curves out to the east afterwards. Does not go towards Nova Scotia, at least on this forecast. Still a hurricane, though, by day 7. See, Kingsley Green asks Westmoreland, I don't know where that is. Let me search that up. I don't see it there. Seaview is near the sea. Let's see. By Seaview and Riverton, south of Spanish Town, behind Washington Gardens, etc. Okay, so Kingston. You said south of Spanish Town? Let me look at that again. Spanish Town Road, behind Washington Gardens, etc. Here, we'll search up Washington Gardens. I don't see it there. Sorry about that. Oh, how did your exam go? My calculus exam. Thank you for remembering, Typhoon Lover. I really appreciate that. That exam I had a 98% on the calculus exam, so I am pretty happy about that. So yeah, again, guys, I spend time out of my day. I do have college work and things to do, but I spend my time trying to help you guys stay better prepared. So if you can, please give a subscribe or a like to the stream. That really helps out a lot. How bad will it affect Morant Bay? Let's see, do I know where Morant Bay is already by heart? Let's see, Morant Bay is somewhere on the northern side, I believe. Oh no, it's on the southeastern portion. Okay, yep, there it is. Morant Bay could see impacts as early as tomorrow. some scattered thunderstorms will be possible in those outer rain bands and really picks up on Sunday. So you need to rush your preparations to completion tomorrow because it really picks up on Sunday. The peak of it seems to be on the rain's going to be really bad on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Winds peak out on Tuesday. It looks to be a little bit calmer on Wednesday. Still some scattered thunderstorms possible on Wednesday. Let's see what else. In terms of rainfall, is this rain here? Rain, you could see 20 to 30 inches of rain. The European run forecasting around 22 inches of rain, although that may be conservative. And in terms of wind gust, the European run's forecasting up to 120 mile an hour winds for you there. Let's see, why is it degrading on satellite? Moving away from shear on the western side is seeming to erode more. Let's see. No, it's not really. It's not really deteriorating. I don't think. Let me see. This is up to date. I don't think it's deteriorating. I think it's trying to get better organized. More burst of convection. It's just trying to get better organized. All right. Apparently, one of my members in my Discord server, Magic, has let me know that there's a hurricane warning in effect for um, Jamaica now. Well, that's an update. I don't know. I don't know much confirmation about that, but apparently there's a hurricane warning in effect. Now for Jamaica, which does make sense. It's getting very close. Let's answer some more questions, though. Port Maria. See, Port Maria there. In terms of impacts there, could begin as early as tomorrow. Some scattered or potentially even numerous thunderstorms are possible there in those outer rain bands. And again on Sunday. Looks like Monday it really picks up and Tuesday it peaks out. Interesting. It shows you potentially getting in the eye, actually, of the storm on this run. That's interesting. I haven't seen this before. On this direct hit there, you can see this little lower amount. That's the eye being forecasted by a model run. That's so cool. I believe so. Let me go in time. I'll show you all the wind forecast there. And let's go in time from the European run. This is the European run, right? Oh, whoops. Okay. Oh, sorry. I went too far. If that's where the eye is, and it does forecast to go right over you, so that's why you get brief calmness, at least on this model run. But in terms of impacts, it does start calming down on Wednesday, looks like. In terms of rain accumulations over the next 7 days, let's pull that up. Let's see, Port Maria from the Hurricane Center, they're forecasting 20 to 30 inches of rain. European run shows a little bit less of around 17 inches. And wind accumulations from the European run are up to around 140 mile an hour winds are possible for you there. Now, I do briefly want to take a break here now to discuss or not a break, but just go back to showing you all the forecasted track over the next week or so, mainly the next 5 days, showing you where it's expected to go. Here it is right now as a strong tropical storm. It is expected to become a hurricane by tomorrow, Saturday morning, become a Category 2 strength hurricane by Saturday night, become a Category 4 major hurricane by Sunday morning, and still be one at Sunday night. It then intensifies to a Category 5 strength system. This would be on Monday morning, weakens slightly, just barely, on Monday nights, slams into Jamaica probably on Tuesday morning, and emerges into the Caribbean again on Tuesday night, makes landfall sometime in Tuesday or Wednesday in Cuba, and then meanders through the Bahamas there. This is on Wednesday night, Wednesday night. Now, the possibility of impacts here, there are what kind of threat level of impacts you could see. So there's areas here that could see marginal impacts, which does include Cuba, the Cayman Islands, the entirety of Jamaica there, the entirety of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico as well as parts of the Bahamas there, getting in that category of marginal impacts, at least. And then there's these areas here of slight impacts, which does include the southeastern Cuba, at least the entirety of Jamaica, parts of southern Hispaniola and northwestern Haiti, and then the Turks and Caicos Islands and southeastern and central Bahamas. Looking at the areas of moderate impacts, that does include the parts of the central Bahamas and southeastern Bahamas there, as well as southeastern Cuba, the entirety of Jamaica there, and parts of southern Dominican Republic and southwestern Haiti, and really the southern portions of Haiti. There could see marginal impacts from the system. Now, the possibility of moderate impact or major impacts does include parts of Cuba where it could roll through as a major hurricane, as well as parts of southern Dominican Republic and southern Haiti there, the peninsula there. Now, where are in parts of the Bahamas where it rolls through potentially as a major hurricane. Now, in terms of where is expected to get major impacts, that does include parts of southwestern Haiti, and the entirety of Jamaica is expected to get major impacts from the system. Now, what about the possibility of extreme or catastrophic impacts? That does include parts of the southwestern peninsula of Haiti and the eastern portions of Jamaica. That does include St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, St. Mary, St. Kingston, Portland, St. Thomas, and Kingston, all getting potentially extreme or catastrophic impacts. Now, going to the evacuation kits here, do you want to show this up so that way you all can take a screenshot of it, maybe print it out, or just take a screenshot and check mark what you have here. So you want an evacuation plan. If you're told to evacuate, do it. You're running out of time though. Medications and medical supplies, around 2 weeks of that. Cash, flashlights and batteries, phones and portable chargers, have those already. Important documents like your birth certificate, things like that, insurance. Battery-powered weather radio will be helpful. Phone lists, things like your doctors, insurance, family and friends. Keep your vehicle filled with gas. An emergency kit. Make sure you have food and water. 7 days or 7 gallons per person. All right, because you're going to be potentially cut off for over a week if this is very severe. So make sure you have at least 7 gallons of water per person. In your household, if there's 2 people, then get 14 gallons of water. 4 gets 28 gallons of water, things like that. See, non-electric can opener could be helpful. Cooler could be helpful. First aid kit is very helpful. Pet supplies as well if you have pets, so pet food, water, leash, collar and bowls, medication carriers and cage, sleeping bags and pillows. Let's see as well, toolbox and rope could be helpful, plastic sheeting and duct tape as well, work gloves, fire extinguisher, closed-toed shoes as well, or boots will be helpful, and whistle as well in case you get stranded. %50 chance of a Category 5, yes. This is at least a 50% chance that this becomes a Category 5. I am currently forecasting a Category 5 strength system. Let's see, what are the chances that it hits Florida? Let's see, well, if we look at that here on the Super Ensemble cluster, nothing. I'd say like 0% chance that it directly hits Florida. Now, in terms of impacts, maybe around a 1 to 5% chance that they see impacts from this system, but very low. How bad is it going to be for Morant Bay? I know where Morant Bay is now. I'm learning things. There it is. Oops. Morant Bay could see impacts as early as tomorrow, with some scattered thunderstorms being possible in those outer rain bands, but it does pick up by the time you wake up on Sunday morning. So be prepared. Get your preparations completed by tomorrow. Those preparations I just showed you, complete them by tomorrow. And also on Monday, it gets worse, and Tuesday peaks out. Looks like Wednesday it gets a little bit better. Still maybe some isolated or scattered thunderstorms and outer rain bands then. In terms of total impacts, winds are being forecasted at up to 110 to 120 miles an hour from the European run, and rain accumulations of up to 25 inches are being forecasted by the European run, and by the Hurricane Center they are forecasting 20 to 30 inches of rain for your area. So you could see extreme to catastrophic impacts from the system. Just make sure you, guys, if you're liking this kind of content, be sure to subscribe, especially if you're in Jamaica, so that way you can stay up to date. I will continue to be doing these live streams, so if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and like the stream if you haven't already. Let's see here. Seaview is near Kingston, near Major Gully. Okay, man-made river. Yep, so Kingston, general impacts as well. They could see roughly the same. Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, 20 to 30 inches of rain, wind gusts of up to 160 mile an hour winds. So Category 5 conditions are possible, and conditions will deteriorate tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, sorry, Sunday, mainly. Okay, I have something in in DMs. Let me pull this up. I want to give a shout out to Magic for sending me this in DMs. Let me see, come on, work, please. This is going to be a little bit blurry, but I will show this to you all. So there's a hurricane warning now in effect for Jamaica with Tropical Storm Melissa expected to rapidly intensify. A hurricane warning is now in effect for Jamaica as Tropical Storm Melissa is expected to rapidly strengthen while moving closer to the island. Now just keep in mind though this is a little bit, I know it looks a little bit blurry, but I'll read it for you all. At 7 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Melissa was located at latitude 16.2 degrees north, longitude 74.6 degrees west. This is about 360 kilometers or 225 miles southwest of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and around 254 kilometers or 159 miles southeast of Moran Point. And in terms of Kingston, Jamaica, around 310 kilometers or around 190 miles away from there. Tropical Storm Melissa is moving slowly there. Let's see, what about other things? Let's see, there we go. Tropical Storm Melissa is expected to be a major rainfall producer over Jamaica. Rainfall amounts reaching 300 to 400 millimeters, 12 to 16 inches are forecast for the island over the weekend, starting in eastern parishes and gradually spreading westward across the island during the course of the next week. Locally higher amounts are possible, and residents should take note. Let's see here. As the tropical storm moves closer to the island, expect strong, gusty winds reaching tropical storm force to initially affect eastern parishes later this evening and eventually into the weekend across the island. Hurricane force winds are also possible, fierce as early as Sunday. What else here? So yes, a hurricane warning is in effect now for Jamaica, and we will see that up in the next update, which will be coming out in 45 minutes is when the next update comes out. Thank you, Magic, for sending that to me. Let's hear here. Next question is winds for Portland. Let's pull up impacts in Portland. Starting out with the rainfall. Could see up to 25 inches of rain from the European run. The National Hurricane Center is forecasting 20 to 30 inches of rain for you there. So you could see extreme or catastrophic impacts in the form of rain. Looking at the wind forecast, you are expected to get up to 160 mile-an-hour winds, so possibly Category 5 conditions could occur for you in Portmore. So again, catastrophic to extreme impacts in terms of Category 5 conditions are also possible. Impacts could begin as early as tomorrow with some of those isolated thunderstorms in the outer rain bands. But on Sunday is when it really starts picking up. So get your preparations completed by tomorrow. Because by the time you wake up on Sunday, those conditions are going to be deteriorating. Getting worse on Monday and on Tuesday, with the conditions peaking out around Tuesday at noonish. And it looks like on Wednesday it starts calming down some more. Maybe some isolated thunderstorms possible in those outer rain bands. Yes, slow hurricanes like this will produce insane amounts of rain. The half of us seeing barely to not even rotating. Recon found out it's already a stronger tropical storm. Thank you guys so much for your feedback. If you're liking this, be sure to subscribe. It really helps out a lot. If there's anything I could improve on, let me know in the chat, as it really helps out. I'm in Jamaica. Can it shift from Jamaica and not hit it? Looking at the probabilities of it hitting Jamaica, I'll discuss this again now, since this is now updated information. How many Ensemble members do not strike Jamaica? 1, 2, 3, let's see, 4, 5. So that's around a 10% chance it doesn't hit Jamaica directly. Still, even if it goes on any of these paths, it will still be delivering major impacts to Jamaica. So don't think that even if it doesn't hit you, that it's not going to be delivering major impacts to you. Now, I would not be gambling against this here. That's a 90% chance it does impact directly into Jamaica, plows into Jamaica there. And let's discuss the probabilities of where it could hit. Now looking at the probabilities of it directly impacting St. Thomas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's around a 14% chance that it makes a landfall there. Now these probabilities are not going to add up to 100. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe lower. Kingston looks to be at around a 2% chance there. And for west, there for St. Catherine, 1, 2, round 2 of them, so 4% there. Now for Clarendon, that's a lot higher. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 right there. So that's a 14% chance that it makes landfall in Clarendon. In Manchester, that's higher there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, around a 20% chance it makes landfall there. And St. Elizabeth, which was at a 36% earlier. Let's look at it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's around a 14% chance now. It's shifted a little bit more to the east now, the consensus. But I mean, the consensus has stayed the same, but overall the ensembles are now starting to pile up a little bit more to the east. Areas more to the west there, this is now Westmoreland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be around a 14% chance of it making landfall there. So again, really any of these areas could receive a landfall, and it's almost equally likely across the board. But it seems like the most likely area right now is Clarendon, a 1/5 chance that it makes landfall over you there. Let's see here what else. Fingers crossed, praying for every single person in the world. Jamaicans, stay strong. Yes, guys, stay strong. Okay, please just hold on. Okay. Will it affect Alston? If that's in Jamaica, then yes. I don't see it there on here. I don't know where Alston is. How much rainfall in Haiti? We can discuss that. Let's see here. Haiti gets winds of, or rainfall, you ask. Haiti looks, or let me pull up the Hurricane Center forecast. This looks a lot better. Rainfall in Haiti, the northern portions, could get around 25 to 50 millimeters of rain. They're not really expected to get much more impacts and additional impacts in terms of rain. At least the northwestern portion could get a little bit more higher rainfall totals that aren't shown on here. Central Haiti could get rain totals of around 50 to 100 millimeters of rain. Parts of southern Haiti could see around, this would be around 100 to 200 millimeters of rain. And the southwestern peninsula of Haiti could see anywhere from 200 to up to 750 millimeters of rain, depending on where you're located in southwestern Haiti. So that's why there could be extreme to catastrophic impacts there. Let's see here. Oh, someone from Thailand is watching. There could be a system going towards your area over the next 7 days. Haven't marked it as an area of interest just yet. Ocho Rios. Ochos Rios. I'll search that area up. Okay, that's on the northern end there. Okay, so impacts that you could receive there, you could experience extreme to catastrophic impacts, at least major impacts though. 20 inches of rain are being forecasted for you there. In terms of rainfall totals from the European run, lower of around 15 inches. And in terms of winds, you could see winds as high as 130 miles an hour. And the timing, looks like you could see some scattered thunderstorms tomorrow, so just be cautious about that. And again on Sunday, really picks up on Monday, so your preparations, if you haven't done them already, try to get them done tomorrow. Conditions are just going to be deteriorating throughout the day on Saturday and Sunday with some scattered thunderstorms and those outer rain bands, so try to get them completed if you haven't already. Monday, by the time you wake up on Monday, it's too late. Tuesday as well, really bad there. And then it looks like it calms down a bit. Let me pull this up. Oh, sorry. And it looks like it calms down on Wednesday. Still some isolated thunderstorms, though. What are you drinking? I'm drinking water right now. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit thirsty. I finished 2 waters so far, so now I'm going to move on to a Gatorade. Sorry about that, guys. Just gotta stay hydrated, okay? I've been doing this for 2 hours straight now. How would its traffic Ports Antonio? If you're asking about traffic, I'm not sure how bad it will be there. Port Antonio, though, the impacts that you could get there looks to be around, let's see here, winds could be as high as 120 miles an hour from the European run. Rainfall totals could be easily over 20 to 30 inch or 20 to 30 inch range. And that could be extremely catastrophic impacts for you in Port Antonio. And looking at rainfall accumulations, up to 20 inches of rain being forecasted for you by the European run. And I'm going to answer some questions if there's any on the Twitter side of things. Nope, don't see anything there. So you're just looking at other things, how I'm doing there. Alright. Oops, sorry. Let's see, any update on the Western Pacific? Yes, there could be a signal beyond this, and I will show that to you all. You said one of the Google Ensemble members is showing it's escaping the front. Let me see. Not really seeing what you mean. But if we go over here into the Western Pacific, let's take a look at the newest Google Ensemble members. You can see the signal starting to pop up within the next 7 days. So this will probably be marked by me by tomorrow as an area of interest. With probably a chance of 10 to 20% chance of development. Then that will be moving towards the Philippines and eventually onto Vietnam and Hainan Island, China looks like. And then there could be another signal after that within the next 10 days. It's a little bit far out though. And then there could be another signal here in the North Indian Ocean after this current system goes through. Could form near Myanmar. That's the system that's going to be going through Thailand. It emerges in the Bay of Bengal. And then there's another one in the Arabian Sea. That's an update on the North Indian Ocean. Google member number 25. I don't know about the members here, the number... Oh wait, does it show them? Okay, it does show these members here. I'm curious about what you mean by that. Is this guy? Oh, this guy. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. There's a loop-de-loop. Okay. Seems like some of those members want that as well. Okay. Yeah, don't know what those at Google are testing out with Gemini and Pisces and whatever. But yeah, it looks like it will become a Category 4 or 5 just south of Jamaica, turns to the north, slams into the island there as a powerful Category 4, slams into Cuba as either a low-end Category 4 or high-end Cat 3, plows through the islands of the Bahamas there as a Category 3, maintains that intensity throughout the Bahamas there, and nears Bermuda as a Category 1 or 2 strength system. Will Bahamas get affected too? Yes, the Bahamas will get impacted from the system. Over the next 5 days... Whoops, did I zoom in? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened with that. Okay. Anyways, the Bahamas will see impacts from the system. The northern portions of the Bahamas, not many impacts. Nassau, those areas around marginal impacts. These areas, though, below are expected to experience at least marginal impacts from the system. There are areas here that are expected to get slight impacts or more, and that does also include the Turks and Caicos Islands. And then these areas could experience moderate or even major impacts as a possibility here. So the southern Bahamas and central Bahamas could see major impacts. And as you can see, though, the cone is quite large this far out. 5 days out, where does it go? And 2/3 of the time it will be in this cone. But there's a third chance that it goes off to the west or to the east. But yeah, major impacts are going to be possible in the Bahamas. Our first step is going through Hispaniola and Jamaica. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is Cuba. Stage 3 is going to be the Bahamas. And then stage 3 is finally the Bahamas. And then stage 4 is Bermuda, and stage 5 is probably Atlantic Canada with the system. So we'll have multiple areas to watch for potential land threats. Yes. Yeah, hopefully everyone in Jamaica and Cuba will stay safe. This is a really concerning storm. It's not just going to impact Jamaica, and we could see watches be posted in Cuba very soon. 18E could become a hurricane. Let's look at that. 18E, it's expected to become a strong tropical storm. I'm not sure about a hurricane, though. Our next update from the Hurricane Center will be out within the next 32 minutes, and that will be when the hurricane warning is in effect for Jamaica. Again, guys, if you have any questions about local areas, you can always leave them in the chat, and I will gladly answer. I will probably go over this again, because why not? I will go over some of the satellite imagery on the system. Let's see, is this up to date? Yep, it doesn't look that bad. I have seen people say, oh, it looks like it's waning or whatever. It's still doing solid. It has convection over its center. It's a little bit exposed on the western side, but not too badly. It's trying to develop. It's still a little bit sheared. It is going to be quickly intensifying. So really, this isn't too bad for the system. It is going to be quickly intensifying. It is potentially going to be rapidly intensifying over the next 24 hours or so. It's going to be interesting to see what the Hurricane Center forecasts with the system. Oh yeah, and the latest HAFS A model run, I do want to touch on this. This model run is very scary for Jamaica. It stalls under Jamaica for over 24 hours, maybe even 48 hours before it finally slams into western Jamaica there around St. Elizabeth or Westmoreland there as a powerful Category 5 strength storm. But the stalling motion south of Jamaica there's a prolonged tornado threat. All these little pink things you see could be tornadoes. There could be an isolated tornado here, here, all throughout here. That's going to be going towards the eastern portions of Jamaica, so Kingston could get hit by a tornado. I would not rule that out. Because just this happening in the northeastern portions there, you see this little hook? Great shear for the system. Now, overall, will the system be weakening by the time it approaches Jamaica there? On this run, it shows it's intensifying up until it makes landfall in Jamaica, so we'll see. Yeah, it's moving northeast with some northeast or southwesterly shear, so that really kind of counteracts its forward motion, or counteracts it. Moves very slowly there. Now, what's the steering like up here? How fast does it move there? Instead of 4 knots, it ups to 24 knots, so it's moving a lot quicker then. Moves from, instead of being 5 miles an hour, then starts moving at around 30 miles an hour by the time it moves passes the Bahamas. So it's going to be speeding up after it impacts Jamaica. So really, impacts are going to be gradually getting worse for Jamaica, and then they peak out, and then they quickly drop. Impacts should be gone then after the worst of it passes through you all. You can see that on here, some of that drier air then reaching Jamaica after the storm impacts you all. I'll zoom out some so it's a better depiction. And there you go, you can see the outer rain band's already impacting you, and as soon as it's gone, then some drier air gets pulled down south. So not as much of those outer rain bands impacting you, thankfully. Yeah, there's a decent severe weather threat, looks like, for parts of Florida there. Yeah, just the storm stalling to the south of Jamaica will just cause devastation there. Then it finally speeds off towards the northeast, so the rainfall totals aren't as high, but some areas could see over a foot of rain in parts of the Bahamas. So is Melissa going to be related to more storms? There isn't going to really be another storm after Melissa, I don't think. This is going to be bad, okay? Don't worry about anything else after this, okay? Just focus on Melissa. Looks pretty clear to me that on infrared it looks like the tilt's getting worse. Oh yeah, I guess so. It's a little bit more wobbly on the east, like it's tilted a little bit on the east side. These higher areas are up to the east, the lower areas off to the west. As we can see though, on infrared, nothing's really impacting Jamaica too severely just yet. Got some stray showers and thunder, or mainly stray showers going across Jamaica, but nothing too severe. Not any of these thunderstorms like the stuff impacting eastern Dominican Republic. So here, Melissa could be the worst storm for Jamaica in decades. It could be the worst storm in Jamaican history. Is it going to be a Category 5? I'd say at least a 50% chance, probably a 60% chance now, that this will become a Category 5 strength system. So yes, I do think that this will become a Category 5 by Monday morning. That's what I'm forecasting it to be. Category 5 by Monday morning, weakening to a Category 4 by Monday night, slamming into Jamaica by Tuesday morning. Kind of looks like Dorian. Looks like Dorian's initial stages. or when it was around a hurricane or strong tropical storm. It just has that look of a sheared tropical cyclone, a strong sheared tropical cyclone, and it's getting its act together over time. I see some of you guys are also tracking Melissa in Zoom Earth. How much rainfall in the Dominican Republic? Let's take a look at that. The Dominican Republic here from the Hurricane Center, their forecast. Some areas here in the northern portions could only see an additional 25 to 50 millimeters. Nothing bad there. This darker green area, so eastern Dominican Republic and central Dominican Republic, around 50 to 100, maybe up to 150 millimeters of rain possible there. The southwestern quadrant of the Dominican Republic could see over 150 millimeters of rain. With this peninsula here on the southwestern side of the Dominican Republic, over 200 to 300 millimeters of rain are possible there. That's why the area is highlighted with the possibility of major impacts. Not as bad as Haiti or Jamaica's impacts, but still major, possibly major. Any possibility at this rate that the northern Dominican Republic gets hit? Unlikely. They're only going to see marginal impacts at most over the next 5 days, looks like. Maybe slight impacts, but nothing direct there. My dad was going to go to Jamaica, but he didn't go because of Melissa. That's a smart move. Melissa's going to be devastating the region, or the country of Jamaica. Likely everywhere is going to be without power. A lot of power outages from this system. So, really not ideal to go there. Some areas may be without water, maybe without food. It's very bad. I would not be going to Jamaica just yet. Even after a week after it's done. Maybe after a week after it's done, then it'd be better. How much storm surge? It's kind of hard to forecast this far out. I don't know if there's any good storm surge models. Search up if there's worldwide storm surge models. Ooh, this is new. Okay, how does this work? Oh, is it broken? Oh, dang. Hold on, I'm looking at this off screen. Okay, it's getting better. Hold on. Okay, I'll pull this up on stream then. This looks like it could work. This might actually be pretty helpful. There we go. Scenario menu. Let's say it's a category 4. How does this work? Map region, Jamaica. Category 4. Let's see here, and going from, let's see, what storm direction? Is this the movement speed? Movement direction, north, let's see, north and northeast, probably, as it goes through there. Storm speed, let me see how fast the storm's expected to move then. Okay, let's see. Roughly around, let me switch this to miles, my apologies. In the day here, that's around, so around 3 miles an hour. That's very slow. Okay, I'll select the 5 mile an hour option there. And can this work? Will this now draw map? Missing a oh, I have to do high tide. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now here's a scenario of the devastating storm surge that could happen for parts of Jamaica from this system, okay? This is going to be, let's start off by looking at, okay, I'm going to change the opacity on this system. There we go, or, sorry, of this map here. So areas in the, where's the legend? Man, come on, please show me the legend. Where is it? Man, man, okay, sorry about this, guys. Trying to, oops, okay, not that, alright. Rates, anywheres, I believe that the storm surge threats here, if I pull this up. Oh, dang, okay, here's how much it shows the storm surge being. So let's start off by looking at parts of, oops, dang, okay. Parts of around New Broughton. Some of these areas here, storm surge as high as 5 to 6 feet above ground, 6 to 7 feet above ground. Westmoreland, some of these areas could be inundated with areas of up to 7 feet of storm surge. Around Egypt as well there. Looking more east, more to the southeast there. Some areas here, especially in around parts of Parlote. Some of these areas by the Black River could see sea level rise as high as 11 feet. 11 to 12 feet of storm surge is going to be possible in some of these areas, or at least sea level rise. 13 feet in some areas it's going to be possible for in terms of storm surge. Parts of these areas, Alligator Pond, not really looking too bad. I guess it's quite elevated in those areas. Looking at these areas, doesn't seem like there's much civilization down here. Going more down to, this is going to be around Clarendon, around Hunter's Village. This area could be devastated here. Some areas could see up to 12 feet of storm surge here. This could be very devastating over here in terms of storm surge. And looking off towards the east, some of these areas near Mitchelltown as well, getting some devastating storm surge up to 5 to 6 feet above ground. Now moving over towards Old Harbor Bay, this town could get very bad storm surge damage. Over 12 feet of storm surge is going to be possible in these areas. And that's not 12 inches in a foot. That's going to be 12 feet of sea level rise is going to be possible there, engulfing some homes. Going further to the east now. Let's see, what about this area? Oops, okay. Now let's discuss Kingston here. Kingston impact. Some of these areas could see devastating storm surge. Areas near Passenger Fort up to 6 to 7 feet of sea level rise. Edgewater up to around a foot, 2 to 3 feet of storm surge. Some areas like along Highway 2000, 6 to 7 feet of storm surge. Some of these other areas could see storm surge as high as 8 to 9 feet. Some of these other areas 9 to 10 feet. Very bad storm surge in these areas. And you can see along the coast, they're also around this area up to 6 to 7 feet of storm surge. But areas along this area could see 13 to 14 feet of storm surge be inundated these areas here. So these areas could be devastated by storm surge, especially along southwestern portions of Kingston, mainly St. Andrew area. Kingston looks to get a little bit easier there, but some of these areas, especially along the coast, could see devastating storm surge amounts of over 6 feet of storm surge, those orange colors. And going further east, it's a little bit better, seems like nothing too bad there. Parts of northern portions not as susceptible, looks like. So it's really going to be areas near the Black River, near Hunter's Village, so Clarendon, those areas, and around St. Catherine, and especially Kingston, St. Catherine, and St. Andrew. These areas are very susceptible for storm surge. So if you're in any of these areas, you need to leave. Let's see, let me go back to the other questions here. When Melissa stalled, it looked like Dorian when it stalled in Nassau. Okay. Let's see. It would be a Category 4 landfall. Safest places in Jamaica right now. Oh, man, there isn't really any safe places. The whole island is going to be experiencing major impacts, with just some areas possibly experiencing extreme to catastrophic impacts. So there isn't really much safer than that. Melissa would be this first storm to strike Jamaica since Sandy in 2012, and the strongest to make landfall in Jamaica since Gilbert in 1988. I believe you're right on that. There was Grace in 2021 that struck the island as a tropical storm, I believe, but not a hurricane. So yeah, you're right. Let's see here, what about this? I think the reconnaissance aircraft dropped a radiosonde. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, still 995 millibars. They went through the system again, doing loop-de-loops to try and find what the system's doing. Let's see, were they changing their heights? Nope. Looks like they stayed at the same. No, it looks like. Okay, I'm not sure. Anyways, they're just trying to figure out where the center is actually located at. They finally found it. Looks like a pressure down to around 994 millibars, 995 millibars. So yeah, maintaining its intensity as of right now. Is Melissa going to be moving towards the United States? Unlikely. Yes, Tara. Melissa is recovering from shear. Any update from the Hurricane Center? Not yet. I don't think so. I'll pull it up one last time just to check. Nope, no new update yet. They're trying to get more information on the pressure and the winds, looks like, before it comes out. Ooh, okay, that's a good website there. Thank you. Let's take a look at this. Here's a look at some of the inland flood zones. I will show this to you all here. Let's see, please work, please work. Nope, okay, that downloaded it. Sorry about that. I'll pull it up in a moment. I'm loading it. Okay, high quality PDF. Okay, I'll pull this up. Oh wait, I downloaded it. Okay, let's see here. Please work, please work. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm gonna be pulling it up. Just give me a moment. I'm going to be showing you all a flood map, pretty much, of Jamaica and what areas are most susceptible in areas of like a 1 in a 100 year flood events. What areas are susceptible and what areas are more safer. Since we were asked more about safer locations in Jamaica, so I will pull that up in a moment. Trying to load it up, but my computer's a little bit slow. Come on, if I pull up this, please work. Does this work? There we go. Yep, so here's a look at the areas in the areas highlighted the possibility of a inland flood zone. So 1 in a 100 year flood zones. So if you're in any of these areas, you really need to be taking precautions and trying to get out of there. Okay, so if you're in areas like parts of the coast of Kingston, areas around Spanish Town, Maypen, Black River especially, and areas around, let's see, this is going to be around Hanover, Falmouth, those areas, Runway Bay. All these areas in blue are areas that could be experiencing really bad flooding. A lot of these populations exposed, really bad for Clarendon. If you're in Clarendon, be very careful. Make sure you're not in a flood zone, as well as parts of St. Catherine. A lot of those areas are in a flood zone, a lot of the population. If you can, try to go somewhere else that isn't as flood prone, because this could be dumping 20 to 30 inches of rain. This could be catastrophic for you. In the areas as well in St. Mary, St. James, those areas, at St. Thomas, a lot of these areas, a lot of the population exposed. Over 400,000 people are exposed in St. Catherine to this to these flood zones. So really, just man, okay. Really, if you're in St. Catherine, you need to be planning to. If you're in the various highly susceptible flood zone, try to find somewhere else where you can go. Another family in another area. You're running out of time though. The latest you can really move is tomorrow. Oh, whoops! Sorry about that, guys. I wasn't showing it to you on here. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Here's the map right here. So areas in Kingston, Spanish Town, Maypen, all these blue areas mean that you're in a 1 in a 100 year flood zone. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. So really, if you're in any of these blue highlighted areas, you really need to be thinking about potentially going to somewhere else or higher ground. Really bad conditions over there. Winds are up to 65 miles an hour now. Okay. Let's see here. Here, I'll try to pull up the latest Hurricane Center update on the system. I don't see it just yet. Yes, the storm will be way worse than Aaron was. Man, yeah, the rainfall, though, potentially catastrophic for eastern Jamaica. I'm planning to probably make more graphics like this, just so that it's easier for you all to see and kind of stuff. Will this storm reach Category 5 status? I'd say more likely than not. We may see the National Hurricane Center forecast a Category 5 in their next update. We will see. I don't think they will, though. Is this storm going to be worse than Beryl? Yes, way worse than Beryl. Jay's question, how did you make the hurricane animations? I used something called Hit Film. Yes, if you're in Jamaica, Cuba, or one of the Bahamian Islands, really be watching the system and be prepared to leave or be prepared to go somewhere else that's safer. Maybe family members, especially in Cuba, start thinking about other family members or friends that you could go to in case your area is in a flood-prone area or you need to evacuate. Start thinking about where you would go, what you would do if this was a major hurricane. Fill out your checklist there, the hurricane checklist. Where is it? There it is. Here, have an evacuation plan. Know where you're gonna go if you need to evacuate. Make sure you have medications and medical supplies up to 2 weeks. There, make sure you have cash, flashlights, batteries, portable chargers as well are very helpful. Important documents like birth certificates, insurance cards, things like that. Battery powered weather radio, very helpful there. Phone list, make sure you have your doctors, all that kind of stuff prepared, your family, friends, their phone numbers written down. Um, Keep your vehicle filled with gas. Know that this storm is going to be headed your direction. Make sure you have non perishable food and water, 7 gallons per person. Non-electric can opener, cooler, first aid kit, pet supplies, things like pet food, water, leash, collar, bowls, medication, carrier cage, sleeping bags and pillows, toolbox, rope, plastic sheeting and duct tape, work gloves, and closed-toed shoes, boots. It's not on here, but that's very helpful. Cleaning supplies, clothing, whistle, all those kind of things, very helpful. Let's see here what else. So yeah, really be thinking about what you're gonna do if it does slam into your area in Cuba as a major hurricane, Category 4 even. Let's see. Chase Outlook is out, I think. Okay, let's take a look. Nope, not out just yet. Here, if you want to see it first, like as soon as it comes out, you can join my Discord server. Those members post about it. See here. I don't think it's out just yet. Man, okay, the thing's, I guess, kind of sheared. Alright, just waiting for it to come out. Next advisory from the Hurricane Center. Going to be out within the next 10 minutes. Should be out before then. Is there a chance that Melissa gets up to 150 miles an hour? I'm predicting it's going to reach 160-mile-an-hour winds, and that may be conservative. It may try and intensify even further than that. No, it should not reach anything like absurd above 200 miles an hour. ZZZ, let me see that real quick. I'm going to see if that's a real thing. Oh, whoa, okay, that's interesting. Unscented household bleach with a concentration of 5 to 9% sodium hypochlorites and a mix of 1/8 teaspoon of bleach per gallon of water and let it sit for 30 minutes. That's actually interesting. That's interesting. Thank you. I never knew that. The more I know, or the more you know. Oh, whoa, guys, thank you so much. We're almost at 3,850 subscribers. 2 away. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We're almost there. It would really mean a lot if we hit that. Thank you guys so much. I'm definitely going to be working on more graphics and things like that. What about 4,000 subscribers? Maybe we could hit 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, honestly. Well, yeah, that's not actually far-fetched anymore. I thought that 4,000 would be, or I think it was 5,000 I thought was crazy. Trying to hit 4,000 by the end of the year, that's actually now a realistic goal, which is I never thought was going to be possible. Any updates on the South Indian Ocean? Let's see here. South Indian Ocean. Looking at that, there's Chenge, which is going to be nearing Tanzania. Nothing too big. And 95S, which is just going to be meandering out to sea. Nothing too bad with that either. At least some of these heavier rainfall rates are now leaving the Dominican Republic. That's good. Maybe may see some new rounds though, unfortunately. Okay, let's take a look at the radar imagery for Jamaica, or the Jamaican radar, and seeing how the storms are doing. Oh, that crashed. Oh dang, I think too many people are using the website. Okay. Whoops, worth a shot though. Yep, looked like that crashed. New advisory is out. Okay, thank you guys for letting me know. I'll pull that up now. There we go. NOAA and Air Force Reserve hurricane hunters report Melissa is now drifting northwestward. Life-threatening and catastrophic flash flooding and landslides expected in portions of southern Hispaniola and Jamaica through the weekend. Right, there we go. New advisory out, 65-mile-an-hour winds. Let's see, hold on. All right, let's go through it. Wind speed probabilities are increasing for parts of Jamaica there, as well as parts of Cuba and parts of, let's see here, parts of, where's this? This is going to be parts of the Bahamas. In terms of rainfall, still the same there, in terms of their forecast there. Let's look at the latest cone now. Is this the latest cone? No, not yet. But let's look at the discussion, since the discussion just came out. Oh boy, this is a lot. Here we go. Reports from NOAA and Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicate that Melissa is still trying to get organized. While the central pressure has fallen to 993 millibars, the tail Doppler radar data from the NOAA aircraft shows that the 500 millibar center is displaced about 20 to 25 nautical miles east-southeast of the surface center. That's indicative of wind shear. The tilt is also present at the aircraft flight levels, with drop zones released at the flight level center, missing the surface center, and reporting 25 to 35 knot surface winds. Wow, okay. That's quite interesting. In addition, the surface radar data and land-based radar data from Jamaica show that the cyclone has not yet been able to develop a persistent eye wall. Based mainly on the central pressure and satellite intensity estimates, the initial intensity is held at 55 knots. That's 65 miles an hour. Now remember, this could increase by around 95 miles an hour over the next few days. Although the initial motion is a bit uncertain, Melissa now appears to be moving slowly northwest, with an initial motion around northwest at 3 knots, so around 4 miles an hour or so. A turn toward the west or west-northwest, and a continued slow forward speed are expected in 12 to 24 hours as the low to mid-level ridging builds to the north of the cyclone. This motion should continue through about hour 72. After that time, a deep layer mid-latitude trough moving into the southeastern United States and the southwestern Atlantic will break the ridge to the north, with Melissa expected to turn northward and eventually northeastward as it recurves into the westerlies. There remains a substantial spread in the guidance with respect to where the center Melissa may pass in relation to Jamaica, with solutions from the GFS passing near the eastern end of the island and the Canadian passing west of the island. The new forecast is similar to the previous track and shows the center passing over Jamaica just after hour 72. However, any motion north of the current forecast track could bring the center near or over Jamaica at almost any time between hour 24 and 72. After passing Jamaica, Melissa is likely to move near or over eastern Cuba, but with portion of eastern Cuba maybe most affected remains uncertain at this time. Now, intensity here. Let me see how much of this is shown. Yeah, okay, all of it. While the westerly shear that has been affecting Melissa will not completely stop during the next 2 to 3 days, it is forecast to decrease to about 10 to 15 knots in 24 hours or less. This should allow rapid development as the storm is located in a moist environment over very warm sea surface temperatures. The one short-term restraining factor is that Melissa's structure is not quite good enough yet to allow for rapid intensification, and thus it could be another 6 to 12 hours before rapid intensifies begins in earnest. The latest round of intensity guidance shows somewhat lower peak intensities than the previous advisory, mainly due to the models moving Melissa near or over Jamaica. However, the current forecast track keeps the center offshore for 72 hours or more, and based on this, the new intensity forecast is at the high end of the guidance with a peak intensity of 135 knots. That's just below Category 5. Despite the weaker guidance, there is still a possibility that Melissa could become a Category 5 hurricane during the forecast period. After passing near or over Jamaica, the cyclone is forecast to weaken due to possible interaction with Cuba and increasing southwesterly shear as Melissa encounters the mid-latitude westerlies. Key messages: Jamaica. Melissa's slow motion will bring a multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall beginning late Saturday or Sunday, likely causing catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides. There's an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surge early next week. All preparations should be completed by late Saturday. Complete your preparations by tomorrow night, okay? Get them done. For Haiti, catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti in early next week, likely causing extensive infrastructural damage, potentially prolonged isolation of communities. Immediate preparations to protect life and property are urged. Strong winds could also potentially last for a day or more over the southwestern peninsula. Dominican Republic, heavy rainfall could produce potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides in the southern regions. In eastern Cuba, Bahamas, and now the Turks and Caicos Islands, monitor Melissa closely. There's an increasing risk of a significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of next week. In eastern Cuba, the risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides is increasing. So everyone from Jamaica, I need to make sure you guys in the chat, make sure, I want to make sure you all understand. Complete your preparations by tomorrow night at the latest. Get them finished. Alright, now forecasted peak is still 155 miles an hour there. They pretty much maintained the forecast from the last one. Let's see the new cone. They're yet making landfall there. And then moving into just south of Cuba there still as a Category 4. And moving through the Bahamas as a Category 2 strength system. Now, okay. Let's see here, pretty much similar to the last cone, a little bit maybe faster. But yeah, still 155 miles an hour just south of Jamaica there. That's very bad. This is just below Category 5 status, 35 miles to the south of Jamaica. This would already be worse than Beryl, if that verifies. Wow, okay. Let's see what else here. Um, is Melissa going to make major flooding and landslides similar to Jean? Possibly. I'd say so, yeah. Very bad flooding from this system. Is it possible it could make landfall in the middle of Jamaica? That's what the current forecast is showing. It's going to most likely going to make landfall somewhere in Jamaica, but currently the center of the guidance has it going through central Jamaica. We'll have more updates over the coming days, but looking at the latest or the consensus over the past few days, let me pull this up, and I'll show you guys the trend, what's happened with that. Alright, here's the trend, and here's how it shifted. The black line is the most recent run, and those lighter colors are earlier runs. So as you can see, earlier it was expected to hit Hispaniola, then it started shifting west away from Jamaica, now it shifted east over Jamaica. So it looks like it is going to slam into central Jamaica. That's the current forecasted guidance of where it's going to go. Chase, what do you use to make your tracks? I use Figma. Hurricane warning in Jamaica. I don't think they mentioned that. That's interesting. Okay, that should have been one of the things they mentioned, but if I pull up the cone, yep, you're right. Hurricane warning now in effect for the entirety of Jamaica. I wish they kind of mentioned that. Interesting to see no tropical storm watch in effect for Cuba. Oh man, and now Florida's almost back into that 5% category there. Looks like. In terms of probability, yeah, probabilities are around 10% for parts of Cuba. I'm surprised, well, I guess that makes sense that there's no tropical storm watch in effect just yet. Yeah, it doesn't start increasing until around hour 96 or so. So in around 4 days or so. Maybe in 2 days' time they will issue a tropical storm watch. But there's the tropical storm force wind field just south of Haiti there, getting very close. Very lopsided on the eastern side right now. The eastern side is going to be the worst of impacts. Wherever it makes landfall into the east, will get the worst impacts, most likely. Rainfall forecast is still the same as before. We should start to see it eventually by tomorrow increase for parts of Cuba and the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Man, okay. This is just going to be devastating, unfortunately. Alright guys, if you have any more questions about your local areas, please leave them in the chat and I will try my best to answer them. If you have any questions about your local parish, what kind of impacts you could see there, I will gladly cover it. I'll go over a brief overview now over the entirety of the parishes, but if you want to know more impacts about timing, you can let me know about your city. I will do my best to answer that. So looking at the parishes here, for wind gust or rainfall totals, this is from the European run. Parts of Portland here get rainfall totals around 20 to 25 inches of rain. St. Thomas, rainfall totals of 20 to 25 inches as well. St. Andrew and Kingston, 20 to 25 inches. St. Mary could see around 20 to 25 inches of rain as well. St. Anne, anywhere from 15 to 20 inches of rain. St. Catherine, around 20 to 30 inches of rain being possible there. Clarendon as well, 20 to 30 inches of rain possible there. St. Anne, anywhere from 15 to around 25 inches of rain possible. Trelawney, that's around, say, at least 12 inches of rain. So 12 to 20 inches of rain possible there. This is from the European run, so it's a little bit lower. St. James, around 7 to 8 inches of rain. The western portions, around 6 to 7 inches of rain there. Westmoreland, around 5 to 8 inches of rain. And St. Elizabeth, up to 20 inches of rain over there. In terms of winds, the winds that you could receive across Jamaica here. St. Thomas, around winds of, 100 to up to 140 mile an hour winds there. Portland, anywhere from 100 to 130 mile an hour, 140 mile an hour winds there. St. Mary, anywhere from 130 to 150 mile an hour winds. Kingston and St. Andrew, those areas could see up to 160 to 170 mile an hour winds. So Category 5 conditions are possible there according to the European run. St. Catherine, wind gusts of up to 140 to 150 mile an hour winds, maybe up to 160 mile an hour winds. So Cat 5 conditions are possible there. St. Anne, around 100 to 130 mile an hour winds possible there. Looking at Manchester, around 120 to 160 mile an hour winds. So again, Category 5 conditions are also possible for Manchester according to the European run. Trelawney, lower winds around 80 to 90 mile an hour winds. St. James, around 70 to 80. It looks like Andover around 60 to 80 mile an hour winds there, and Westmoreland around 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, maybe up to 80 there. So that's a look at the current forecast for across Jamaica. Why is Haiti going to be experiencing extreme impacts while Melissa's not going to make landfall there? It's going to be those outer rain bands. So I can kind of show you this right here. See the HAFS A model run on the storm, and I want you to pay attention to Haiti there, right over here. There's a mountain right there that's just continuously getting hit by some heavy rainfall, and even as it's out of the picture, those heavy rainfall rates are still happening right there in Haiti. Look at that, even over the next 4 days, it's still going on. So that's why they're going to get some potentially extreme to catastrophic impacts. Alright, I do plan to end the stream over the next 8 minutes, as there's not as many viewers as last time, but still I'm doing a 3-hour live stream. Again, if you have any closing questions, you can ask them in the chat and I will gladly answer. Let's see, looking at the poll though, seems like it's pretty split where all of you are located at. 22% from Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. James, 20% in St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, or Manchester, around 31% from St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, or St. Mary, and around 27% from Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, or St. Thomas. Interesting. I thought the last one would get the highest amount of people voting on that option. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing as well. We just hit, almost, hold on, wait, let's see. We're almost at that there, 3,850 subscribers. Is Bermuda in the cone? Yes, they are. Let me show you guys that. I'll show this to you guys since you've sticked around long enough. Let me see, come on, okay. Work, please. Alright, I will show you guys the zoomed out cone. Just for you all for sticking around. Really appreciate it. Here's a look at the cone beyond the 5-day range. It's not colored as pretty, whatever, but here's a look at the cone after the 5-day range. So this is day 6 as a Category 2 hurricane just to the southwest of Bermuda, and here's day 7 as a Category 1 moving more to the northeast. So that's kind of where it's going to be going after the 5-day range. So yes, Bermuda is in the cone. Yes, I'm still streaming. I'm going to be ending it soon over the next 6 minutes. Again, as long as there's a lot of people watching, I will keep going and keep going. I'm definitely, over the next few years, I'm going to be continuing to cover more storms in Jamaica. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And bam, we've reached 8,000 or 3,850 subscribers. Thank you all so much. We're 150 away from 4,000. Thank you guys so much. Yes, thank you. And yes, again though, Bermuda is in this cone right here. Nova Scotia, those areas are just outside of the cone. Again, I can't really show the full thing because I'm mainly focused on here. Let's see, maybe by tomorrow the cone will be zoomed out a little bit more to include Bermuda, and I'm not so sure. This graphic may be zoomed out some, but I really like it zoomed in because these are the areas experiencing really bad impacts. We'll see. I may zoom it out slightly. I think I'll zoom it out slightly tomorrow, just to include the whole entirety of the 5-day forecast. I'll only zoom it out slightly. I don't want to zoom it out completely, so that way you can still see the impacts and that kind of stuff. It's much more easy to talk about impacts like this. Will this rapidly intensify? More likely than not. Do you make YouTube shorts? No, I don't. I focus more on live streams. Hey guys, if you have any personal questions, you can ask as well. Like anything about how I make content, whatever, you can always ask. Or I mean, you can ask now, and I'll be wrapping it up shortly. Any questions you guys have about what I do, whatever, any just questions you'd like to ask since we're closing up the stream. Let's see, how much rainfall in the Philippines? Let's take a look. Now, there is going to be like a little bit of a tropical wave moving through. So, okay, well, no, not a lot. Really not a lot at all. Oh, wait, sorry, no, that's winds. Let me go to rain accumulate. There we go. Now that's more like it. Yes, rainfall totals of up to 150 millimeters are possible. Some area, yeah, up to 200 millimeters in some of those more mountainous terrain areas. Oh, yeah, let's take a look at the extreme precipitation forecast. Vietnam's getting up to 500 millimeters of rain. Okay, let's look at the extreme forecast. This is extreme temperatures. Extreme temperatures, the Arctic there. Where else? Nothing too severe. Some areas down here are record breaking. This is by, where is this? Don't know how to say that. Sorry about that. Nothing really too bad. Australia, very warm. Then going through the next few days, here looks like parts of Africa, very warm. Ooh, cold happening for parts of Argentina. Looks like then it goes back to normal. Some very warm temperatures over here in parts of Western Africa. Yeah, now let's go to wind, because winds are going to be very high, of course, over there. Let's focus more on rain, though. Anything in red is record-breaking rain, or record-breaking precipitation. So some parts of Latvia, Lithuania, Sweden, those areas getting a lot of rain as well. Also parts of just south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic there, highlighted there, of course, from this system. And looking over the next few days, some areas here as well in parts of India. Just interesting here. Any other bad areas that are just very severe. Nothing too bad, and it just gets less and less as you go forward in time because of uncertainty. So let's see any questions here. Um, Tomorrow it will hit Jamaica. I'm not sure. It's probably most likely making landfall on Tuesday morning, and I will have a live stream on there. So subscribe if you haven't already to stay tuned for that. Do you take inspiration from Force 13? Yes. And Force 13 was really kind of what got me started. And a guy named FCX Animations, something like that, he got me interested as well. As well as NXTHAN. I was animating like kind of before him, and then he kind of inspired me with to do some other things. Did I animate for Force 13 before? Nope, I did not. I got into animating after I left Force 13. Trelawney could get some impacts tomorrow with some out of those outer rain bands, maybe isolated scattered thunderstorms. Let me turn off this thing here as we start to wrap it up. Sorry guys if you just joined the stream. Remember to subscribe. Let's see. Thank you, Clinton, for the kind words. What time will your live stream start tomorrow? I'm hoping at around 8 p.m. What time would you guys like me to start my live stream, I guess? I'll probably do it at around 8 p.m. and go on for 3 hours or so up until 11. That's the goal. Earlier, then it's a little bit more difficult to do it earlier. Well, I'm going to be stopping soon. So again, tomorrow I'll do another live stream. Be subscribed if you haven't already. Yeah, okay. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and again, be sure to subscribe again if you haven't already. Like the stream, or well, it doesn't really matter about liking the stream anymore. Guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next update. Stay safe, okay? Really, stay safe. I hope you guys have power tomorrow. Stay safe.